97.3, The Fan. We are here this morning on a Friday. As Ben likes to call it. It's great to be here. Let's get our heads right. What a weird morning it already is. We have really no idea what to do or what we're doing. We were left in limbo a little bit. We can talk about it. That's what we do here when things are we don't like to mask some of the things going on. We'll kind of let them out in the open. And, you know, if you have frustrations you need to voice, you can do that as well. I certainly am frustrated. I'm very frustrated. It's been a bit torturous these last few nights, but here we sit this morning. We got what we asked for. Padres still in it, technically. It's the weirdest thing ever. It happened in the weirdest way. We'll get into all of it in case you missed it. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. He's our YouTube director, and he is the imaging director for 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
You know, a lot of hats, literally and figuratively. You have a lot of hats.
Not wearing a hat.
Not wearing a hat today. Nobody is. We're all hatless here this morning. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, is here as well. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. Speaking of hatless, I was watching the Ryder Cup last night, and Patrick Cantlay did not wear a hat, and it weirded me out so much to see a professional golfer without a hat on playing golf.
It weirds me out to see an amateur golfer.
Yeah.
It weirds me out to see old hillbilly himself, Chris Foster, our boy, for the first, Paulie, how long? 2 years that we knew him, he played hatless?
Yeah, it was weird.
And you're like, what are you doing? Huh. You look like a diddler. I'm sorry. Like, it's weird to be on the golf course without a hat.
I think it is one of the weirdest looks you can have in sports, is to play golf without a hat.
What if a baseball player was playing center field and he's like, I'm not wearing my lid? He's just out there running around with his perfectly coiffed hair. It's weird. Now, so Foster, what he did, he's like, fine, shut up. I'll get a visor. So he got a visor. He looks worse with the visor. So now he's wearing a visor. I'm like,
visors, I think are a tough look, but at least there's something there. I mean, you get used to Phil Mickelson when he used to wear the visor.
Sure.
It was fine.
You get used to it.
Watching Patrick Cantlay without a hat. Now, at the Ryder Cup, they don't wear their sponsored gear like they do in a regular PGA Tour event. So, you know, whatever KPMG like Phil wears, they don't do that. So there's no reason if you don't want to wear a hat, you don't have to. That's a vehicle for advertising on their normal job.
That's exactly right.
But Patrick Cantlay went without one, and I think it is absolutely maybe destroyed Team America because they are getting
waxed,
annihilated on the first day of the Ryder Cup.
This could be over by tomorrow.
It might be. I mean, they're down 4-0 after the early alternate shot foursomes, and they're finally winning one of the matches in the afternoon, but they're losing 1-5 up. Xander Schauffele is getting absolutely killed.
Hold on. What in the F is happening?
It's going to be such a long day.
Okay. Friday is loose and fun. You're going into the absolute weeds of Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay.
He started with the hat.
Hey, the hat bit's fine.
And I was like, okay,
we're good. As long as he doesn't go into the weeds.
I just want to.
We are 3 minutes into a loose, fun Friday show.
Little context of how poorly they're doing because of the lack of a hat.
Head down. He's
going through it. Mike Allstott was just handed a football at the 3-yard line. That's him. Ready, hut, go get him, Mike. And there's Ben just 3 under, 4 under. Cantlay. Oh, dude, it's going to be a long day. Well, and it's not Ben's fault. Ben's doing his job. That's what he's supposed to do. We didn't know how to plan today's show.
Well, you gave me a job last night. The last thing I heard from you last night was text me if they ever finish this Marlins game and the Padres are eliminated. So I'll know when I get up.
We had a bit that we were going to do if the Marlins ended up winning, right? So I said, that was the last thing I said. At like 8:30, I go, just text us in the morning. If I wake up to your text, it says Marlins won. We have a whole way to plan the show. We had another way we were going to plan the show. If the Padres were eliminated today was going to be the big kind of farewell funeral bit. Nothing happened. We have no idea. So we sit here at 6:05. I'm out of material. I have 3 hours and 55 minutes left to go. And I'm like, what are we supposed to do? Well, luckily for us, we've got Friar Friday. Nothing.
They're in a bit of limbo as well right now as an organization.
Their phones don't work?
Well,
Oh, they all lost their cell phone. Oh, they didn't pay their...
I think it's more... Who do you want to talk? I mean, the team is in limbo. The front office is in limbo. The coaching staff is in limbo.
Yeah, they don't want to put any of the people that may not be here Monday on, right? So... Somebody said Polly last week. I mean, this is truly... This is truly the perfect storm. I feel like the guy sitting there looking at his computer going, oh, this front's moving. Look at this one over here. Here comes one from the south. We had the Marlins didn't win the game. The Braves took care of business, beat the Cubs. So we're almost there.
Those Cubs.
So that wouldn't let us, do what we needed to do this morning. It's just all three things, just nothing materialized. So we sit here this morning. I looked at the guys before. Paulie walked in.
And that game those games were supposed to be over at 7.
Oh,
7:30.
We get a text and phone calls and figure it out what direction we were going to go.
Nope.
3-hour delay. Delays, and so now you get Topic Wheel and Ryder Cup and a little bit of NFL action. They really did it. It really left us in limbo. But, yeah, I mean, we got no Friar Friday guest. Thank God for Craig Elsten coming up at 8:35. He recommended me. I like when he does this. He's like, hey, if you want a little taste of what's coming up tomorrow, this is what I'm going to talk about. So he gave me the recommendation. I went back to my Paramount Plus, which I don't think I've touched in 6 months, and I watched the first episode of what he recommended, and it is fire. Like, it's so good. So I love when he knocks one out of the park. He knew I would love it. He did. He sent that to me. He'll be on at 8:35. We'll talk Padres with him too. But holy smokes, man, this is one of those days. It was like impossible to get a direction. Now, some might say, why didn't you guys plan for all three? I don't make enough money. I'll tell you right now. I don't make enough money to plan 3 different shows on a Thursday night. There's just no way. I don't have enough time. I don't make enough money. There's no way I'm doing that. So now we roll with the punches today. It was a crazy, crazy night in baseball last night. Some of the best endings that you'll see as far as the Mariners go. Cubs are absolutely soiling themselves. They have the tightest b-holes around. They can't field a ground ball. They can't catch a pop fly. They can't get a hit with runners in scoring position. They have lost their minds. They are trying to give this away. And then, of course, the debacle in the Mets-Marlins game last night is insane.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Just to explain what happened for people who weren't watching last night, the Mets and Marlins were scoreless going all the way into the bottom of the 8th inning at Citi Field. Obviously, a win by the Marlins would eliminate the Padres, but it's also hugely important because the Marlins and Cubs were tied going into the day yesterday for the final wild card spot. So even if the Padres are completely out of the equation, this is still one of the biggest games in baseball in the last 4 days of the season. So the Mets score in the bottom of the 8th inning to take a 1-0 lead. And, the Cubs are probably, they're done. They've lost. So they're cheering for the Mets to lose. So they're still tied for the wild card. But in the top of the 9th inning, the Marlins rally for 2 runs, a double by Jazz Chisholm and then an RBI single, and they take a 2-1 lead. So they're on the verge of winning this game. But with 2 outs in the top of the 9th, the rains start coming down so hard that they have to bring the tarp out and delay the game. And apparently this storm that was coming into New York was just relentless, just kept raining and raining. So the delay lasted 1 hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and they're looking for a window because the Marlins play today in Pittsburgh. They have their last series Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Pittsburgh. So they got to get on a plane. I mean, they got to fly to Western Pennsylvania because they've got a game at 6:30 p.m. tonight in Pittsburgh. They can't stay forever, but they don't want to not finish the game because they can't just call it. Because if they just call it,
it reverts.
There would be the Mets at the end of the last inning. The Mets were up 1-0. So the rules, they actually changed them in baseball a couple of years ago. You can't call a game that the visiting team has taken the lead in without giving the home team a chance to bat now. So they'd have to finish the game on Monday after the season is over to determine, if it's still important. And there's a really good chance that's going to be a game that either, determines the last wild card between the Marlins and the Cubs, or could still determine the second wild card between the Diamondbacks and the Marlins. As it stands right now, though, the Marlins have a half-game lead over the Cubs. Yep. Now, the Marlins still have 3+ to play, while the Cubs just have their 3 games in Milwaukee left this weekend. And the Padres at 3.5 back still are alive, because if the Cubs lost all their games, the Marlins lost all 3 and then came back and lost in the 9th inning to the Mets. And then the Padres swept the White Sox and the Reds lost their series to the Cardinals. The Padres would technically still get into the postseason. So they're not mathematically eliminated yet.
Where would we be had we won the Josh Hader fiasco?
2.5 back.
With how many to play?
3. Still, now if they had won the extra inning game against the Cardinals too, so they've won 11 of 13, but they really could have won 13 in a row
straight.
In that case, they'd be a game and a half out with the tiebreaker on the Marlins.
Oh my God!
And the Marlins would be going to this weird series now with late travel and staggering into Pittsburgh, and the Padres have all this momentum against the White Sox. You'd look and go, there'd be a really good chance at this point the Padres could still get it. As it stands right now, it's still the longest of long shots.
It is.
Would require a 30 for 30-esque miracle for the Padres to get in this weekend, but they have not been eliminated from playoff contention. And we talked about it yesterday. We made it through our entire season of shows. We will never have to do a show during the regular season in which the Padres have been eliminated from playoff contention this year. I was expecting to do 2 weeks of them at some point.
Unless it's Monday and the Marlins still have to play to decide,
well,
right?
I guess so, but I would consider the regular season pretty much over at that point if it's Monday morning and everyone else's. Padres' regular season will be over.
Yeah.
So,
our regular season will be over.
It'll be over on Monday morning one way or another. So, yeah, it's a weird situation in Major League Baseball. We can get into more of it. What kind of, Skip Schumacher looked like he was fit to be tied during that rain delay.
Not happy.
We texted him this morning to just say sorry, and I actually.
Why would you text him? He's probably getting like his 2 hours of sleep right now in a Pittsburgh hotel room.
If you don't think that Skip Schumacher is up and watching Ben and Woods like he always is, or doing push-ups in his room, preferably shirtless.
They probably just got there like 2 or 3 hours ago.
Preferably nude, to be honest with you, or running laps around his hotel in Pittsburgh. Then you don't know our pal Skip Schumacher very. That guy's fueling his body right now. You know that. The guy doesn't sleep. He's a cyborg. But Paulie texted him. Paulie did it. Paulie started this. I'm going to blame him. He put me on there.
It's because I know he's a loose cannon, and I want
him to come on today, but he can't. He'll get fined. If he came on today, he would get fined because
there's no way he wouldn't rip.
I hate the Mets, dude.
He'd get fined just because what he says.
Correct.
I see.
They do stuff.
They don't fine him for coming on.
I texted
okay.
A thread with you and Skip, and I just said, dude, ... what the F?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's really bad. It's really, and I feel terrible for him. And hey, I just want to. He knows this, but this is what the Mets do. They do weird stuff like this. They have a 20-minute window to play that game. They still can't get it ready. And I understand the field was wet, no doubt. But they also blew putting the tarp on the other day. This has been a constant pain in his ass since he's gotten there. And this is what Buck Showalter teams are. That's what they do. This is what Gabe Kapler teams are. They're annoying. They're annoying. The Giants, our guys, our beloved Padres, they didn't get into Chicago yesterday till like 6:30 in the morning. You know why? Because the Giants, their getaway day is 6:45 games. It's absurd. We're tinkering and we're doing it different. It's annoying. They're annoying. There's a few managers in baseball that are annoying. Buck is one of them. Gabe Kapler's another one.
Well, based on what I've seen, neither of them are going to be back next year with their teams. We can go into some of the rumors that were coming out the last 24 hours or so. But as you can tell, it's going to be a bit of a loose Friday here on Ben and Woods. So let's try to have a good time.
Open the phones.
Let's get to the weekend. Open some phones. We do want to, if you missed it, we want to talk a little bit more about our interview with Kyle Bodie from Driveline that we did in our 9 o'clock hour yesterday.
We didn't get to delve into it.
Yeah, we didn't get to break it down. He had some interesting comments on what he's observed and heard about the Padres organization when it comes to, biometrics and, advanced mechanics in the minor leagues. So we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. Daily Ditty wrapping up the week. One-hit wonders has been the theme. We'll get the selection coming up next, and then we are into it on a kind of weird Friday with Ben and Woods. Glad to have you with us. Oh, Rory and Matt Fitzpatrick just won a 6th straight hole in a row. They're up 6 through 7 holes.
All right, gotta go to break.
Yep, we'll go to break.
Let's check traffic with Kelly here on 97.3 The Fan.
kind of a feel-good Friday song.
yeah.
I like that,
I'm
Benny.
a big fan of My Sharona. Paul, good choice.
Thank you.
This, well, I mean, a lot of songs have this format, but I think this one is a particularly good example of a kind of song that I really like. Woods, maybe you can help explain it, but it's got obviously the
Catchy.
It's catchy. It's got the the My Sharona part, but then as you get later into the song, long guitar, like creative,
Very.
and then I mean it goes on, and then it comes back at the end and hits you with the My Sharona one last time at the end. I like songs like that.
There's a couple of like my favorite type of songs are the songs that start really slow and then they build into a big crescendo.
Stairway to Heaven.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Our
I like those two.
Our open from today, the Space Hog song.
Yeah.
The Queens of the Stone Age song, real slow, almost mellow, and then the that's my favorite kind of song. But I do like when they just take it. I think they call it.
I don't know. Is there a word for that, Paulie? Can you fast forward My Sharona to the guitar part right before the end? So like a minute before the end of the song.
I think they
because
call
it changes. I mean, it's like a totally different song for when it gets into the guitar part.
Yeah, it is. Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I don't think it's called the refrain. I'm missing what it's called. I can't remember what it's called.
This isn't the bridge, though.
That might be the bridge.
Is this the
Yeah,
bridge?
the bridge. I think that's what it is. When a song has a cool bridge, you're like, damn, how'd you think of that? Because your natural thought is to just stay in the
but it goes away from that completely.
It goes away, and then they bring it back. It's really good. Writing songs, that's how hard that is, dude. It is to think about that and to, hey, let's take it a totally different direction. There's a few Zeppelin songs that do that really, really well, where you're like, ooh, this is 3 songs in one. There's a song no one listens to. It's probably my favorite. It's called Carousel Alhambra, and it's legitimately 3 songs in
Dream
one.
On by Aerosmith. Kind of.
They do kind of a crescendo.
Crescendo at
I
the
love
end.
that.
Yeah, I like those too. I agree with you.
Great pick, Paulie.
So we were just talking about Gabe Kapler and Buck Showalter, and the tea leaves seem like they're both out of their jobs as manager. I mean, Farhan Zaidi was asked yesterday whether Kapler's role as manager for 2024 is going to change. And when you don't, I mean, when it's just like, no, he's good, or you'll say, yeah, he's back. He gave a long, like 2-paragraph non-answer, which is pretty much an indicator that they're going to make a change, and he just hasn't announced it yet.
Where is that? I saw it.
I had a couple here. Obviously, I think I said at the time, I really appreciate the support from ownership and the plan to have us both back. But right now, our focus is kind of getting through these last 3 games, finishing strong, finishing 500. I think we all just have to look at, how we can improve across the board. That's the personnel on the roster. That's our culture in the clubhouse, which, again, when you're playing well, certain things culturally are portrayed as, hey, this team loves being together, they're having fun, but we're not doing well. These things can be seen in a negative light. Sound familiar to anyone? But the interesting thing about both of those situations in New York, where they brought in a new president in David Stearns, and he's probably going to shake things up in San Francisco. Both places, they're already circling the Padres like vultures. Like, can we steal Bob Melvin from the Padres? Are they actually going to let him go?
I saw Giants.
And we can steal them. The Mets, the Giants, the Mets are trying to steal Juan Soto. I mean, Jeff Passan brought the Mets up as a Soto trade destination.
Thanks a lot, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
I
So
hear about that.
Those are 2 organizations that are like eyeing the Padres like, ooh, what can we take from them at the end of the season?
I mean, Bob Melvin to San Francisco makes way too much sense. It makes way too much sense. It's a fit for what they're looking for. I think he and Farhan would work well together. I still
think the place that makes the most sense
It's
is
here.
San Diego.
Yeah, right here, 100%. As do I.
Because I don't want to see him. I don't want to have to go up against him 14 times a year.
No.
In our division.
No, nor do I.
Because that's what might happen if you let him go. Is that part of the thinking for the Padres?
There's so much to think about too, and the domino effect of Bob Melvin being fired or leaving. Which again, I don't think he's walking away. That would be the dumbest play of all time for him, leverage wise. But even if they mutually agree to leave, we all know that it wasn't mutual. Right. He told us. He said it with his own lips and mouth on this show. I'm not walking away. I'm planning to finish what I started. That's a quote from Bob Melvin here on Ben and Woods, San Diego sports leader.
That was on a Friday.
The mighty 97.3 The Fan. And he said it, and I believe him, and there's $4 million on the table. He will be snatched up before he's out of Petco Park. As he's walking from his I got fired or we mutually left press conference, his phone will ring. It will be Farhan or David Stern.
Still in the manager's parking spot
100%,
in the indoor garage out in the backside of Petco Park.
Phone will ring from his agent. All right, it's New York or San Francisco. Which one? Both great Chinese food. So you pick which one you like. And that's what he'll do. Also, we're going to get that 4 from the Padres. I got you 6 from the Mets. Got you 5 from San Francisco. It's $1 million more, but you got to live in New York.
Yeah.
Which one do you want? So you're going to make like 9 or $10 million this year.
Yeah.
Which one? What do you look better in? I mean, I know the City Connects are better at both, I think, for you, at least. Which one do you like? And he will be...
West Coast, East Coast.
Yeah.
Big cities, fun cities. Where do you want to go?
He will 100% be the San Francisco manager if he's gone. He's a West Coast guy, lives in Arizona. 100%.
How'd that work last time? A Padres
It went
manager
super.
left us and went to San Francisco.
It's been great.
Worked out pretty well for them.
It's been really great.
I just think I think that's something if you're the Padres you got to think about.
100%.
Knowing that if you let Bob Melvin go,
He may beat your ass.
he's probably going to stick it back to you.
Same with
year
Juan
after
Soto,
year.
my friend. Same with Juan Soto. I mean, he will torture us for the rest of his days. It just becomes...
And there's a lot of days left because he's 24 years
He's 24, and a lot worse players than Juan Soto have come back to haunt the San Diego Padres. So there's a lot on their plate. But the domino effect of Bob Melvin leaving is you wonder, does Ruben go? If Bob goes, does Ruben go? Ruben has been...
Now, Ruben wasn't a Bob hire.
He was not. He was an AJ hire. But still, I mean, what if he likes working with Bob Melvin? If you're Bob Melvin, don't you say, bro, let's go. You come with me. We're going to go to San Francisco. I mean, they got a good pitching coach in San Francisco in Andrew Bailey.
A breakup's always hardest on the kids.
Breakup
and
is
the assistant coach.
100%. So I definitely know he's got a loyal crew with him, and I wonder what the domino effect would be.
Wow! I just saw Skip Schumacher up on TV above you, Woodsy.
Was it live?
It was not live.
Oh,
it was from
last
last
night.
night. Yeah,
They just showed the Marlins. They changed their bio on social media to say, "We have a roof."
In New York this time of year too, man. This is like people are like, this is just what it does.
It was a wild scene last night. We'll get into more of that coming up. I also, as I said, we want to get back and talk a little bit more about the Kyle Bodie interview we did from Driveline at the end of the show yesterday, our final hour. Some comments he made, some observations about the Padres organization that were pretty interesting and, maybe informative going forward. So we'll get to that coming up. I'll guess on Ben Woods here on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Right back after this on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. think if Skip Schumacher could have been a one-man grounds crew, he would have tried it last night at Citi Field.
Yeah, he
get
tried.
That game finished.
He tried to get that tarp out on the field, man. It was something else.
Ultimately, after a 3-hour, 17-minute rain delay in the ninth inning, the game between the Marlins and Mets was suspended and will likely be completed, if necessary, on Monday after the season is over. But for the time being, because they did not finish out their 2-1 lead, the Marlins, the Padres, still alive as we wake up here on a Friday morning in playoff contention in the National League wild card race.
And I'm still getting the question about reverting back to the 8th inning that was completed.
That was the old rule.
That was the old rule. The new rule says
if a team takes the lead in the top of an inning, you have to give the home team bats, but you can't just revert to the last inning. So even though they've played enough to make the game official, they can't just call it and go back to the end of the last completed inning. That was the old rule. There were baseball games where a visiting team rallied in the top of the inning, but because the rain hit, they reverted back to the end of the last inning, and they ended up losing a game they were leading when it ended, which is
I see why they changed that rule.
Yeah, it's a really weird way to end a game, and probably not fair for a team that had just rallied to score runs to have them just wiped off the board and say, oh, I'm sorry, you're winning, but now you lose.
they did it in an adult league on the fields that you could play on with the lights, and the lights they had a hard out at like 10 o'clock. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you scored 3 runs. When the lights went out, game was over. So
in between inning, umpire's like, let's go quick.
Yeah, you got to go. You got to go. You
Quick.
get one warm up and go. Yeah, it's terrible.
Marlins general manager Kim Ng quoted, without getting into the details, obviously this is an unfortunate incident. When asked if the game could have been finished and not suspended in the ninth inning, she no commented on that one.
There was I guess there was like a 20-minute window too where they could have done it. And that's when you saw Skip out there helping them rip the tarp off because I don't know. I'm not saying that the Mets grounds crew is incompetent. I don't know that there was anything untoward.
But remember,
the Mets have nothing.
The first
to play
game
for.
of the series was postponed, even though it wasn't raining, they forgot to put the tarp on.
Maybe they are incompetent
over the weekend. So
it's actually
the evidence leans toward at least somewhat incompetent, and that hurt the Marlins because they ended up, splitting that doubleheader.
Yep.
Not that they would have definitely won both games, but they didn't like this pitching situation to put them into. And now they're facing another situation where they're going to have to travel from New York to Pittsburgh, back to New York, and then possibly to a playoff series on Tuesday with just an insane amount of travel to begin their postseason if this is how it ends up playing out. So, yeah, you can understand why they're aggravated this morning.
Well, and again, I said it to you guys off the air this morning. If this isn't the perfect example to look toward next season, when people say that these games don't look, it's April, it's May, they'll figure it out. You win a bunch of those games in those months when, you clearly have a superior team to most of the teams you're playing. Those games do matter. And I'm not going to be psychotic about it, but I'm also not going to be flippant.
Just dismiss it.
I'm not going to be so flippant as I was this year and yell at people and tell them that they're idiots for seeing some trends. And
there's 2 games in the last 10 days that would have made a difference.
No doubt. No doubt about it. And, one of the weird things about this season, one of the weirdest things about this season for me is how well we've played good teams and how poorly we've played teams that really aren't as good as us. I mean, some of their records are better than us at this point, but certainly didn't match up talent-wise. But yeah, I think if I'm whoever the manager is next season, that's kind of my day one. Hey guys, sense of urgency. Let's not do the don't worry. The back of the baseball card will be looking good at the end of the season because you're right. They were right. Manny was right. Juan was right. Everyone was right. The baseball cards will look okay this season for most of the San Diego Padres. A lot of it in garbage time, though. A lot of it in garbage time. So I think that is kind of my number one message is like, look, you don't have to kill yourself going to try to win 111 games, but there needs to be more of an urgency and less a sense of urgency and less of a, don't worry, we'll figure it out. We've seen all those anomalies add up, and here we sit 3.5 back with 3 to play.
Game 1, Game 6, Game 17, Game 80, Game 114, Game 162. they are all exactly equal.
Correct.
In the
number
minds
of
the
wins.
standings.
I will say this, though, just a caveat, and we'll lay out our caveats for the season before the season next year. You can't manage every game like it's a game 7. This is on the players. That's what it's on. It's not on the manager, because you cannot manage a game in April the same as you do a game in September, October. That's completely different. But the players, you absolutely have to play April, May, June, like you play September, October.
You know, I was thinking as I was just driving to work yesterday afternoon about how unusual this Padres season is in really the course of baseball history, because you see teams finish strongly that don't make the playoffs sometimes. They're almost always kind of those young teams that are like, you know, kind of on the rise. Like they weren't expected to do much, but they kind of figured it out as the season went on.
They don't know what they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know, but they finish strong, and, you know, they're hoping maybe it's a sign of things to come. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. And you see teams collapse at the end of the season. Sometimes they had expectations. Sometimes they didn't, and it was just a bad, rotten year all the way around. You rarely see a team go into a year with massive expectations, finish incredibly strong in September, but not like make the playoffs. It almost never happens, because if a team's that good that they have massive expectations and they play well enough at the end of the season, it's because they're, you know, building momentum into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're getting hot.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't ever see it this way where
if we had won some of those April, May, June games, Ben, imagine right now the San Diego Padres going into October playing baseball the way that they are. This would have been the ideal team to get behind, and it would be the team that everyone was like, "Oh God, they're finding ways to win." Now, injuries, you don't know. I mean, you don't know. Is Joe, is you, are they, if they had won some of those games now, are they working their way back for the playoffs? Potentially. Maybe not you, but Joe, I think definitely. And yeah, you let the chips fall where they may, but you're one of the hottest teams in baseball right now, getting hot at when? The exact right time. It's kind of another dagger in your back where you're like, you guys are playing your best baseball at the best month you could play it other than October.
Maybe
it's just staggering.
Woods, if I had asked you in April, you want the Padres to have the best record in baseball in September?
Absolutely.
Be careful what you wish for, because your wish was granted. They do.
It's like when Ben talked about that young team that's maybe on the rise or doesn't know what they don't know. Jake says in the YouTube chat, I think perfect example in the NFL, the Detroit Lions
100%.
last year. Remember them?
Yeah.
You watch, I don't know, what they go, 7-10 or something, but you're like, there's something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that the wheels are turning
Baltimore
in that
Orioles
organization.
last year
Orioles.
leading into this year is a great example
Yeah.
as well. Sometimes it does portend what's coming up in the future. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's a mirage at the end of the season, and you're playing well because other teams have kind of given up, and, you know, the schedule kind of works out your way. And I don't know what this last month for the Padres is portending for next year.
And nor do I.
I tend to not think a ton. That next season, they're not going to rely on September next year when they're looking back.
Well, mostly because you don't expect in April of next season to have Matthew Batten in the lineup every night. You don't expect Brett Sullivan to be behind the dish a lot of nights. You don't expect Azokar to be getting the bulk of the starts. These aren't things that you're really counting on next April. And if you are, I don't know.
Something went wrong.
But
went
it's
wrong.
funny you say that, because I agree with you. You know, why would you got these bit pieces and role players, but they're playing right now, and they're playing well, and they're winning with these guys in the lineup. Shouldn't you at least have some consideration about why is it that they're playing so well when these guys are in the lineup?
You know,
what is it?
Some people said
Because they're not the guys carrying the team by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, I saw someone write what's the Padres record with Batten in the lineup? Like 7 games above 500. What's the record with Profar since he came back?
like a 750
He
win
hasn't really
percent.
done anything yet they're playing well with him. What does that say? Is that something that needs to be incorporated into the lessons of 2023 for the San Diego Padres?
I also saw the point yesterday of who cares? These are bad teams that they're beating right now. And I'm like, yeah, there's some bad teams that they are beating, but they also, you know, they took 2 of 3 from the Dodgers, and I know the Dodgers are clinched and all that, so it's a different Dodgers team. I understand that. But Padres had no problem handling up on some of the best teams in baseball throughout the season. No problem. The Rangers, the Rays,
The only
the
difference
Braves.
is they're beating up the bad teams that they couldn't beat up on for the first 5 months.
That's exactly right. They're finally winning those games where they're favored, and you're like, oh, yeah, they'll absolutely take 2 of 3 in this series.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Fall is here, and at Ashley, seasonal decorating is a breeze. Snuggle up on a sectional or ultra-modern sofa. Gather outside with a new fire pit or conversation set. Ashley has everything you'll need. Shop in-store or visit ashley.com. We're going to check traffic, and then we're going to play like a little 3-minute clip of our conversation with Kyle Bodie from Driveline yesterday and react to it coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the premier auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. Well, no big surprises on our roads at this time, guys. Even the traffic on the Coronado Bridge has calmed down somewhat heading over to the island, and no problems there. In peak wildfire season, as a last resort, SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. I'm Kelly Danick with Benner Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Just a quick bio again. Kyle Bodie, which we, by the way, learned during the interview. We were calling him Kyle Body at the beginning, but he didn't.
He said his name in like his 5th answer.
Not to correct
not
it,
to
but
correct
I just
us.
caught it like, wait, he pronounces it differently than we've been doing it. Like,
he's like, I think he was
Passive
doing it
aggressive.
hinted in.
just let you know.
So, one of the real forefront of the game of biomechanics and video technology to help players with their swing and pitchers with their windups and everything to maximize velocity, different things like that. Worked for the Cincinnati Reds for a while. Now back at Driveline, which is based in the Pacific Northwest, but is working with players all over the country. This was from our 9 o'clock hour yesterday, a little segment where we got into some Padres talk with Kyle Bodie.
Talking to our pal Kyle Bodie from Driveline here. So right to the meat of it, man, I wanted to ask you, I mean, you're obviously looped in. You talk to plenty of players. You work with plenty of players. When you talk about the San Diego Padres, that's the team we're obviously the most interested in, Kyle. What do you hear about, the technology of the Padres? How far behind are they? Things of that nature. That's what the audience really wants to hear about.
They were first movers in a lot of respects early on, but then I think what happens with a lot of teams is when you're the first movers, sometimes you cling to some ideas, and then suddenly, you become the last movers in a lot of ways. I mean, it's happened to Driveline, it's happened to a lot of teams. And I think they're playing catch up in a lot of regards. And how you build an organization today is more important than having the newest shiny objects, and I think that's a thing a lot of organizations are struggling with right now.
Now, they are building a biometrics lab in conjunction with PLNU, one of our local universities, and I think that's supposed to be ready in the coming months. But just building it is one thing. What's the secret to kind of implementing the biometrics that you guys get at Driveline and actually, making a difference in performance for players on the field?
The thing, the Point Loma thing, I think, is a really good opportunity because you start involving people that have done it for a long time, and not just experts, but players and students who have actually applied it on the field. And that's the real thing. Is it's not about the numbers; it's about coaches and organizations and holding people accountable. Something we did with the Reds really well. Our coaches were accountable to the players' development, and we made it known. We empower these players, and we let them know that we work in service to them. And it's just not a top-down society anymore. I mean, kids today any parent can tell you, they're tougher to parents. You can't just yell at them, and, they're very independent. And I think that is something you have to lean into. So kids and players have a ton of questions, and you got to be ready for them.
You're a student of the game. You watch a lot of players. I'm catching a little bit off guard right now, but when you look at the San Diego Padres roster, give me a couple players you look at and say, I could really whip him into shape, or, give me a pitcher or something you like. I like his stuff, but, I mean, do you watch games, Kyle, and go, oh, if he just puts his arm here, he's going to be much better. Is that something that happens to
contact us on driveline.com.
Yeah, contact us.
Yeah. I mean, a little. I focus so much on the minor leagues because it's such my passion. People are like, oh, you just want to be the director so you can be a big league pitching coach. And I got in some trouble by kind of saying so. I don't want to be a big league coach. I want to be in the minors. And then, oh, you're too good to be a big league coach. It's like, okay, well, I didn't.
You can't win, man.
Yeah.
Like,
no, and so I think a lot about the lower minors. And when we played the Padres in high A, Dayton, and played them, what stuck out to me is like, yeah, we have these top prospects. Anderson Espinoza was out there. I'm like, man, that's awesome. He was a top 50 prospect forever ago, and the Padres did a lot to bring him along. But then, the depth of the organization, when we would get into the later weeks and we would get into the late innings, and we're pitching our non-drafted free agents, our non-priority guys, and the Padres and many other organizations are pitching their guys, I mean, we're killing them. And like that's a telling story. Like they're teams that care about the entire organization, and that's how I was brought up with Houston and how I was brought up with Tampa and Dodgers, the organizations I worked with before. And then some of the organizations chase their prospects, the top 30 list, everything on Twitter. And if I'm going to be an old man about it, these prospect lists are a joke. I mean, like seeing who these guys are destined to be big leaguers. It's like, well, no, that's not how it works. This game's really difficult. It's really hard to predict. And as a GM told me 10 years ago, if you're really good at predicting who can get to the big leagues, you need to quit your job and go trade stocks.
Yeah,
a lot more money than that. So that's kind of how, and that's how I see it in the minor leagues. It's just the depth of the organization of the Padres is really hurting. And I think addressing that would go a long way down the line, which I know is not, sexy today in the big leagues, but it's what builds sustained success.
Interesting, especially at the end there about at least the philosophy that Kyle has about minor league organizations, because if you look at the latest rankings and top 100 list, the Padres perform very well. They do well when it comes to the really top prospects and the sexy guys. But Kyle,
and we have since AJ Preller's gotten.
But Kyle argues that really to have the best minor league system, you need like the last guys on your minor league roster to be as important to you as the top 2 or 3 prospects on each team. Now, AJ, I think, has always been more about, hey, let's focus on the guys who really have the best chance of getting to the big leagues and, the most talented players, and let's develop them. And he's not the only one who thinks that way. And I think there's certainly some debate about what the better way to go about it is. Kyle is more like, hey, you don't know even if your top prospects are going to make it. Why not prepare everyone to get to the big leagues? And all of a sudden, you may have 5 guys who surprise you, who weren't on your top list, that all of a sudden continue to develop because you've coached them up right, and they end up helping you on the big league level. Surprise, surprise. And he mentions some organizations that have done consistently really well in the big leagues.
Yeah, the Astros, the Dodgers, and the Rays, I think, are 3 organizations you certainly wouldn't mind whatever organization you're a fan of emulating. And we've heard that story about the Dodgers before, that every single minor leaguer is given the iPad with all the info loaded on it. Like they really take care of their guys. And I think
it doesn't matter, Mookie Betts or the last guy
man
on the low A roster.
No one's treated like roster filler.
Correct.
And a little bit from what we've heard in the Padres organization that
there's a lot of filler.
Some of those guys who are coming in and low A in the 9th inning to eat up innings, they're more like roster filler, not true prospects.
It's tough, yeah. It's tough. And, I mean, what does it boil down to? I think it's expensive.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to be wasting your time on everybody all the time. But
I think that's the wrong way to look at it, is waste. It's
Right.
not wasted time if you get a guy for $20,000 that ends up pitching, in your rotation at the big league level.
All right, we'll continue this discussion, maybe open it up to some phone calls, 833-288-0973. Play some Take on Woods next as well here. It's Ben Woods on a Friday on 97.3 The Fan. Hour number 2 of Ben and Woods on a Friday is brought to you by the Golf Mart. Oh, did someone say golf? Because Team USA is actually showing some signs of life, Woods.
I'm going
Thought
home.
you'd be interested.
Adam.
Now, they're getting still clobbered
CBS Sports Radio.
by Rory McIlroy and Matt Fitzpatrick.
We're nice here.
He's humble.
I think I'm usually pretty good here on the show about admitting when I got it wrong.
That's CBS Sports Radio.
Live from Los Angeles, here's Bill Ryder.
Hey, it's
hell
Bill
yeah,
Ryder
it's
Show.
Friday, let's go. Let's get
What's he-
into
what's he
it.
talking
A lot
about?
of things to tackle over the course of
What's
the
he
show.
tackle?
Deion Sanders cannot lose, even though Colorado probably gets
College
see,
football.
beat the hell up by USC. Kurt Schilling's going to be in for it. He's been in for it from everybody. We'll pile on.
Probably we
Bryce
will too, and
Harper.
don't do this.
Coming up-
Well,
coming up
let's do
next.
30 minutes, yeah.
Buy
20
or
minutes.
sells on fire. Bum of the week is coming. It could be
Bum
of the
Christianity
week. Of the
for
week.
me. Haven't had an in-house bum of the week in a while. But let's start with the Detroit Lions.
All right, turn it off.
Going up
There you go.
Didn't start with golf.
Yeah, he did. That's true. Didn't even mention the Ryder Cup.
You love the Ryder Cup. Come
I do.
on. You do.
But I also know, I also love indoor box lacrosse.
I mean, they're going to be down 5-0.
I love our audience.
They're going to be down 5-0 soon when Rory and Matt finish off Xander and Colin. But we're leading in 2 of the other matches and tied in the other one.
Okay.
So if they can somehow scrape together a few points, they can get back in this thing
Okay.
in the Friday 4-ball matches.
All right.
Did you see the morning pairings? They had Rory McIlroy and Tommy. Well, never mind.
Tommy Pham?
Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh, Tommy Fleetwood.
So they call
Tommy
it
Pham would
They called
be...
it Fleetwood Mac. Was the Fleetwood McIlroy pairing? No, they did. They called it that.
just want to go home at this point.
The good news is we have 3 more hours.
3 more hours of this.
Can't help it. I like
Why
the
can't
Ryder
you help
Cup.
yourself?
I love the Ryder Cup.
But
Did you see the start of the event? They
No,
created these.
I didn't.
It was like 100 rows worth of stadium seating around the first tee. I get nervous when I just tee off like in a normal round by myself on the first tee. I can't even imagine having to stand in front of thousands of people and hit a golf shot in like in the middle of an arena stadium setting, the way they set it up.
That's why they're pros.
I know, but they all say it's the nervous they've ever been over a golf shot.
Hey, Woods, who are you starting in the flex this week? In
Yeah, I
fantasy
should. I
football?
should just go over that's my fantasy football team. I did just make a move and bench Jerry Jeudy
I would love
in
to hear
case
it.
you're interested.
Fine.
It's just it's just a bit of a derailer.
It was the start of the second. How could I derail anything? We were coming out of a break to start a new hour.
I don't know what to do. I can't look at him. He's mad at me for some reason, but not my fault. Yeah, there you go. Talk some Thursday night football. Good game.
I was going to finish our conversation about Kyle Bodie.
Okay,
on
let's
our
do it.
interview. It was my plan.
Thank God. Okay.
After a quick Ryder Cup update.
Okay.
And then, because we talked about the minor league philosophy of the Padres a second ago,
We did.
focusing on the top end prospects rather than kind of everyone in the system.
Correct.
But what about the his comment that the Padres were actually one of the first teams to get into these advanced biometrics and biomechanics, but because of that, they've sort of now been passed by some other teams as they're playing catch up with their lab. And he said that the PLNU facility, that's a good thing for the Padres, that they're moving forward and stepping forward, but they may have the last couple of years been behind the times, because that's what happens when you're the first to get into something. When you buy the first Tesla,
Yeah.
and you have to deal with all the like mechanical issues and stuff that they didn't know about, and then someone else buys the second or third generation one and it's perfect and it works fine, and you're like, well, I need to get one of these new ones, but I'm still paying off the old one. So you end up falling behind in the new technology, even though you were the first one to get it. That seems like what he was saying about the Padres.
And it's hard to chase technology. It's really, really hard to chase technology. And you know what else it is? It's really expensive to chase technology. I loved what he said when he said, yeah, so we did this, and we start to see some gains or some results, right? And you get the results, you go, this is great. I'm so glad we invested in this. Then somebody comes and goes, but wait. Well, no, this is working. We spent X on this, and it's working. We're seeing results. We're going to give it a couple more years. And technology continuing to get better, there's more. And then you're resistant to saying, hey, do we want to spend another $1.5 million to do this? We've already got this one in place. It's working well enough. I love that he was talking about TrackMan, and he's like, that's old-ass technology now. Like, TrackMan is old. And I'm like, geez, we were down to TrackMan at spring training last year. So I know I've heard from some of the minor league guys.
Some players' day.
I've heard from some of the minor league correspondents we have that they don't even have one.
Think about your
levels.
refrigerator at home. You probably have one like I do, right? We've had our fridge.
I only have one. I have one.
Do you have a refrigerator?
I do have one. I have one.
They have refrigerators now that will order food for you when it's
What?
What? Oh, yeah, no, I mean, you put it in and hey, you're almost out of orange juice.
What?
It'll automatically order it from Amazon because it senses you're low on it. I mean, they have so advanced things, but you look at your fridge and it goes, it's still keeping everything cold. I don't need to invest in a new fridge.
It's true. It's
fine.
It's doing the job.
It's fine. It's doing the job. Do I really want to spend $9,000 on this new advanced fancy fridge when the fridge we have right now, it's fine. Fine.
What do I always say that an organization should do? Always. It's like my baseline argument. An organization should do everything they can to cover their own asses at all times. A manager should, a player should, the general manager should. Cover your ass. Do your job. So by that logic then, there's still, and I know that there's a place for some old school way of doing things, but if you have the best of the best, your ass is covered. The Sandy, Peter, AJ, his crew is like, we got you guys this. You got this lab you can work in. You got your iPads. All the minor leaguers got iPads. It ain't on us. It's on you guys. Cover your own ass. Make sure your side of the street is clean and it's dirty. As far if you listen to Kyle Bodie, who's very much in the know about this stuff, it's a dirty side of the street right now. So I do like the steps that they're making. This and he said too. He said the facility at PLNU is going to be great, but we're a little bit behind the eight ball there. So how long is that going to take to get ramped up? How long is it going to filter down at all to the minor leagues, or doesn't that just sound like that's for the big league guys? We'll see. But we were talking to Joe Musgrove. Paulie and I were a month ago when we saw him out at Petco Park, and he just got done throwing, and he was telling us about his facility. Which I from what I understand, is pretty state of the art. It's more than just some fake mounds and some plates out there for guys to throw to. It's a pretty state of the art facility, training young pitchers and baseball players. So you got to be with the times. You got to stay current, and I think the teams that do that are in better shape than the San Diego Padres are, that's for sure.
I need a contestant for Take on Woods. We're going to play in about 2 minutes' time. So call now, 833-288-0973. I think this is your last day to qualify because this is the last day of September that we're on the air. Tomorrow is the last day of September. And when we come back on Monday, it'll be October. We'll be into
30 days, half September.
We'll be into the World Series month when we come back on Monday. So get in today. If you haven't qualified for the trip to Las Vegas, give us a call right now. 833-288-0973.
There's not many, right? There's not too many.
It's got to be maybe 5 or 6 at most.
Yeah.
You got a good shot.
This is your chance, and then we'll have Don't Do This, and Craig Elsten will come in with Crossing Streams recommendations at the bottom of the hour.
If you're a relatively new listener, just to be clear, it's only for our morning qualifiers.
Right, it's not the whole station.
It's not a national contest across all Odyssey.
We attempt to qualify somebody every day, but we only get 4, 5, 6 qualifiers a month. So you're not. It's not the national thing.
Tough to
it's
beat
not with
Woods.
all the other shows on the
station.
station.
I want to make sure that anyone who beats Woods feels like they've got a good chance to win a really cool grand prize. So that's how we kind of do it here in the mornings when we give away our monthly prize to Las Vegas. I see people calling in, so why don't we just get to it? It is time to take on Woods. All right, everyone's trying to get in now that we hyped it up for your last chance. So let's go. Who's this on the air? You're on 97.3 The Fan.
This is Corey.
Corey, all right, you were in.
Hello,
You're going to
Corey.
take on Woods today with a chance to qualify for that getaway to Las Vegas at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Private VIP pod at the Westgate Superbook. $250 food and beverage credit. But you do have to take down Woods or at least tie him in our 5-question musical trivia game. You get to pick our category, though. Corey, here are your choices. End It All. Those are 5 song titles that end with the word it. Ladies and More Ladies. All answers featuring the word ladies. And Rocket or Pocket. Each of those songs features one of those 2 words, rocket or pocket. So, End It All, Ladies and More Ladies, or Rocket or Pocket. What's it going to be, Corey?
Let's do End It All.
End It All. All right, today's category featuring 5 songs whose titles end with the word it. I-T. 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We can get back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question is the 2-second song. Paulie's going to give you a little snippet of a well-known hit. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point, and then we'll go on from there. And remember the category, End It All. Corey, you ready to play?
Let's do it.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Corey. Let's take on Woods.
Pass.
Which 1984 Tina Turner chart topper became the title of the 1993 biopic about her career and relationship with abusive husband Ike?
Turner.
Incorrect. Which real good 1987 single helped Salt and Peppa become the first all-female rap group to go platinum?
Shake It.
Incorrect. Twisted Sister created a classic for rebels everywhere with which 1984 hit that was their best-selling single?
I don't know. Twist It. I don't know.
Adele was still a breakout star in 2011 when she released which song about not believing everything you read? Of course, she uses the British spelling with a U.
Oh, man. Pass, because I know the other one. I know
Okay,
the song one.
go back to the song. Oh, no, you're going to get clobbered today. I'm sorry,
that
Corey.
one's,
I appreciate you calling in and playing,
Great
but
effort.
you didn't get any. I'll leave the answers until Woods comes in and see how he does. You can all play again. I feel like people out there did pretty well in this one.
Yeah.
Corey didn't, unfortunately. But I
pressure.
think people are screaming in their cars at some of these answers. All right. Woods doesn't get the category. We'll see how he does. It'll help to figure this one out. That's for sure. 60 seconds back on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Corey.
That's Whip It by Devo.
Correct. Which 1984 Tina Turner chart topper became the title of the 1993 biopic about her career?
What's love got to do with it?
Correct. Which real good 1987 single helped Salt and Peppa become the first all-female rap group to go platinum?
Real good. Dun, 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 dun. Pass.
Twisted Sister created a classic for rebels everywhere.
We're not going to take it.
Correct. Adele was still a breakout star in 2011 when she released which song about not believing everything you read? Of course, she uses the British spelling with a U.
Pass.
Which real good 1987 single helped Salt and Peppa become the first all-female rap group to go platinum?
I keep wanting to say Whip It. It's
Come on.
real good. Boom,
You just said it.
Is it Work It?
No.
Work It. F word.
Real good.
Real good. I don't know the Adele song.
Push it.
Push it. So I thought they were W's.
Push it real good.
I thought it was W's because you had Whip
It's,
It.
it ended in it. They
You
all
did have a lot
ended
of
in
W's.
it.
Yeah,
You
there
did
was
get all,
W's.
you got
Whip
all
it.
the W's.
I
What's
got the
love
W's.
got to do with it?
That's what I
Push
thought.
it. We're not going to take it. And the one Adele was Rumor Has It.
Rumor has it.
But you did win 3-0.
Nothing.
Yeah, Corey had trouble with that one today.
A banger of a show so far.
Congratulations, Woods. A victory to end the week. And we will have a new prize for you when we come back on Monday for our grand prize drawing.
I loved the song.
That's so good.
Shockingly.
So good.
I usually just take it.
That's true.
I continue to just take it.
Yeah, you
Save that, Paulie.
Yeah, he takes it. I don't.
Yeah, you don't take it.
should.
I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take it.
We're not going to take it. Ben's like, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I'm just gonna take it.
Yes,
I'm
I'm gonna take it. Yes, I'm gonna take it all
the
day long,
time.
all the time.
I'm going to wear it. I'm going to take it. That's just what I do here.
Yes, I'm
I'm going to take it.
Yes,
I'm really
gonna
gonna
take
take
it. It's the funniest thing you've ever said.
Feel like I've been doing that for the first
I'm
75
just
minutes of the
gonna
show.
take it.
All day long. It's brilliant.
Ben's just gonna take
It's absolutely brilliant.
All right, someone else can take it during Don't Do This coming up next.
Oh, we got Angel Hernandez back in the
Schilling's
crosshairs.
gonna take it a little bit, I
Kurt
think.
Schilling's
Yeah.
gonna wear it a little bit.
And we got some good audio for Do This.
Oh, sweet little Angel
Yeah.
in
Actually
Do
goes
This.
with the Angel Hernandez
Yeah, it
Don't
does.
Do This.
It does.
All right, that's coming up next after a check of traffic. Bennett Woods on 97.3 The Fan. If you missed I'm Listening, Odyssey's annual 2-hour special spreading awareness about mental health, or just want to listen again, you can hear it on the free Odyssey app. Remember, talk saves lives. I will let Woods take it, at least the leadoff spot on Don't Do This today.
Yesterday we were in the middle towards the end of the show, and I saw a statement issued from the Boston Red Sox. That was the first thing I saw, and it really made me sad. It said, the Red Sox today issued the following statement with permission from Tim and Stacey Wakefield. We are aware of the statements and inquiries about the health of Tim and Stacey Wakefield. Unfortunately, this information has been shared publicly without their permission. Their health is a deeply personal matter. They intended to keep private as they navigate treatment and work to tackle this disease. Tim and Stacey are appreciative of the support and love that has always been extended to them and respectfully ask for privacy at this time. I had no idea what they were talking about. Then I started seeing some tweets about Curt Schilling, and I said, what the hell did he do? So I saw the clip pop up. We're not going to play the audio because, I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, it's out there now. But Curt Schilling on his podcast on Outkick, he talked about how he had talked to another former teammate of theirs, and that teammate had let him know, yeah, we know Stacey's battling cancer, and now Tim is also battling brain cancer. And so husband and wife, both just in the fight of their lives right now, was not something they were comfortable going public with. And then Curt Schilling took it public, and he said, they probably don't even want this out there, but I'm going to do it because I'm a man of God, and I know the power of prayer. And so I'm going to put it out there. And so, yeah, it was not a good look in a series of...
How do you not?
It's sad, dude. It's really sad. And you know, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I had people defending him in my Twitter thread. I shouldn't be surprised by that because it's 2023 and that's just what people do. And I mean, a guy said, well, just because it's out there, you know, just because they wanted to keep it private doesn't mean it's going away. And I said, well, my father-in-law passed away from brain cancer. He got to share his story. His colleagues didn't do a podcast about it. He worked at Fox 5 at the time, and Kathleen Bade and others didn't sit down and say, hey, wait till you hear what happened to Lauren. And he got to tell his story at his pace, when he wanted to, how he wanted to. It's so repugnant that I can't even wrap my head around it. It's privacy. That's someone's private life. And so that's what he did. It's out there. I'm sure he doesn't feel bad about it at all. Because I think that escapes him. But
that's what Curt Schilling is.
Yeah, that's just
who he's always been.
That's what he is. That's what he does. So Curt Schilling, don't do this.
You got your clicks, buddy.
Yeah. All right, I will go. Angel Hernandez is always the easy target in Don't Do This. I'm going to take it a little bit beyond that. But you probably saw the video. It was the third inning yesterday. The Phillies taking on the Pirates. Full count. Bryce Harper checks his swing. I mean, barely, because
barely moved his hand.
He barely moved at all. The bat, I mean, it wasn't one of those mud. If he hits it, it's a double.
No,
it was an entire non-swing.
If he hits it, he fouls it off the knob.
On appeal, instead of getting his walk on the ball that was way down in the dirt,
he had already
he was taking his gear off.
Yeah, Angel Hernandez at third base rings him up at strike 3, and Bryce Harper loses his mind. I mean, he can. The Phillies have won 7 in a row. They've already clinched their wild card spot. Not going to change their playoff fate at all. So he decides, okay, I know I'm going to get tossed. I'm going to let Angel Hernandez has it. He runs up the third base line, screaming at Angel Hernandez, who throws him out of the game with this little smirk on his face that really does look like, well, I may be wrong, I may be right, but you can't do anything about it. Just as annoying and smarmy as all get out. Harper gets thrown out of the game, but I will add to the Don't Do This. I don't know who the home plate umpire was, but if you know that Angel Hernandez is your crewmate over at third base, you don't have to ask for the appeal. It was so obvious that he didn't swing that he could have not pointed and just saved everyone a whole lot of grief by not bringing Angel Hernandez into the equation. And I tweeted last night, people seem to get a kick out of this one. When you have a coworker who's completely incompetent, but you can't do anything about it, can we just refer to that person as the Angel Hernandez of the office?
It's called Angel.
From now on. And I don't know how his fellow umpires in his crew feel about him. I can't imagine that it's that much fun to have to work with the guy who is clearly
it can't be
the worst
can't be
umpire
fun.
in baseball, but
Yeah,
they
he
can't
and
do
CB
anything about it because of the union.
He and CB Buckner are just
CB is
Angel
bad behind
Hernandez,
the plate.
though.
He's bad behind
He's
the plate.
really bad behind the plate. I don't get the same sense
When he's in the
Angel
field.
takes it everywhere.
He makes the game about him.
You could put him on the line in the playoffs.
CB's just not good at the strike
He just
zone. Which
cannot.
is, I have some sympathy because
Me
that's
too,
got to
it's
be
tough.
a tough job.
Sure.
Angel's just bad at his job.
Bad.
He's
And
just bad, and he's also he complains, and he's
the worst part about that
sensitive, and
the worst part about that one was you can see him say, "No, you went." And Bryce, I did not go. He goes, "Yeah, you went. You'll see. And then when who's their manager, Rob Thompson, came out, and you see him go, "He went. You'll see," and turn around and walk away. I mean, it's so egregious. It's not even fair. So let's go. This will carry us right into doo-doo this.
DD mega doo-doo.
So as you see, Bryce is livid, man. Walks off the field.
there was a second I was wondering if he was just going to take a swing at him.
Just slug him.
I mean, he'd be suspended for the playoffs,
Oh,
so you
yeah, he'd
can't
be
do
done.
that. But he was that angry.
He was walking back towards the dugout. The Philly fans were going bananas. Took his helmet off, threw it 50 feet into the air.
Over the net. Had to get it over the net.
Into the crowd. And all these, I mean, you saw it was like when you put food in a fishbowl. It was like
Chum.
Yeah, chum. And it went crazy. Kid that walked away with the helmet, though, was, I believe he's 10 years old.
Yeah.
His name is Hayden Dorfman. And here was his in-game interview.
So I saw him throw it, and I knew I wouldn't get, so I kind of just stood still.
Because the dads went for it, right? You told me that.
There was like 3 or 4 dads just diving in.
It's always the dads, guys.
And it was pure chaos. I did not want to go in there. But then I kind of just stood on the outside in case like it fumbled out. But the dads thought I was going for it, so I started yelling, "Give it to the kid," and that worked.
The sympathy works, Hayden?
Yes, right.
That's what the face of a 10-year-old would do. So in hindsight, I guess it's bittersweet because Bryce got kicked out, but a very cool moment for you, I'd imagine. You just said a minute ago, when is my leg going to stop shaking? When do you think that leg's going to stop shaking, Hayden?
I don't know. Probably never.
You're coming next week to one of the wild card games, right? Are you going to bring the helmet, you think?
Probably not.
No,
Probably not. And I was
not.
told, I asked if he was going to wear it to school tomorrow.
Well, he's not going to wear it because I also saw that Harper knew exactly what happened. He knew threw a helmet in there and somebody got it. He sent security guards up there to find out who got it, and he wanted to sign the helmet for them.
So badass.
He didn't know it was a kid. He didn't know who got it.
Even better.
Which I thought was great. He didn't know if it was
So
a
badass.
6-year-old guy or a 10-year-old kid, but he knew some fan got that helmet, and he's like, "Yeah, bring him down. I want to sign it for him."
Now, when do
And-
Philly kids actually get their Philly accent?
I don't know, 'cause
that
he
kid
doesn't really have
didn't
one.
have it yet.
Well,
so
this guy, somebody did, speaking of Philly fans, was waiting outside of the player and
Umpire exits, yeah.
and manager parking lot, just standing on the sidewalk,
waiting.
knowing Angel Hernandez at some point is going to be driving his car out of this gate.
Guy should have armored security, to be honest with you, in Philly.
Probably should. And Angel Hernandez hears every word of what we're about to play because he's looking right at him and he's laughing with that smirk that he has.
Angel Hernandez, you stink, and I don't like you!
It might be the same call me when you get your phone. It sounds identical. I mean, it sounds like it could be.
Yo, call me when you get your phone!
Again?
It literally might
It
be.
could be him.
Angel Hernandez, you stink, and I don't like you!
I mean, it's...
Yo, call me when you get your phone!
It's the same guy. I'm just going to say
Angel
it.
Hernandez,
That's
you
it.
stink, and I don't like you!
It's him. That is him.
it sounds like him.
Straight
So
up.
I mean, he's a YouTuber, professional heckler.
Okay, that's him then.
Philly captain. He's got 6,300 followers on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm guessing that was him that
Yeah.
did the phone.
You'll call me when you get your phone. It's,
Yo, call me when you get your phone!
it's one of my favorite accents. Not if I was married, dating a woman from there, would be tough. It would be a tough scene. I'll call you on the phone.
Yeah,
you don't have to. You just text me.
That's the same guy.
I don't actually ever want to talk. We just text. We'll just keep this text between you and I, and it's fine.
Same guy.
It's the same guy. Yeah, I knew it. I mean, it was so
Yo,
obvious.
call me when you get your phone!
Brilliant.
Don't and do this for a Friday.
That
I
was
don't like
Don't
you.
Do This with Ben and Woods on
I
97.3
don't-
The Fan.
Angel Hernandez, you stink, and I don't like you.
I like how he kept it G-rated.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate that.
I don't like you.
Craig Elsten is going to join us when we come back.
Craigger.
We need some
No.
crossing streams today, right? No,
He's not.
He's not?
8:30.
8:30.
Oh, 8:30.
You get a whole another hour.
Oh, wow. I read 7:30. My bad. All right. Well, maybe we can talk about Jeff Passan just trading Juan Soto away from the Padres when we come back.
Going to be a super fun offseason.
Yeah, it's coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I'm not giving you a Ryder Cup update here because that went poorly the last time I tried it. It's Ben and Woods, this hour
You
on
want
the fan.
to, though, don't you?
I do, badly. This hour on the fan. Not much has changed. U.S. is up in 2 matches, trailing big in one and all square in the other, down 4-0 after the morning alternate shot.
Okay.
They need to win 3 of these here in the afternoon to get back into it.
Okay.
2.5 at least.
All right.
All right, this hour on Ben and Woods brought to you by
It wasn't so bad.
Ashley Furniture. Fall is here, and at Ashley, seasonal decorating is a breeze. Snuggle up on a sectional or ultra-modern sofa. Gather outside with a new fire pit or conversation set. Ashley has everything you'll need. Shop in-store or visit ashley.com today. Paulie's pulled up the audio of Jeff Passan. You know, if this was anyone else.
Yes,
Really,
agreed.
anyone else on planet Earth
Yeah.
had said this, I would just go, all right, they're just filling some time, speculation, whatever. We
If
do
it was
it,
a
everyone
Mets
does it.
If it was a Mets podcast or something.
John Heyman.
Even if it was Ken
Even if it was
Rosenthal,
Heyman.
even if it was Rosenthal, who's probably number 2 in my mind.
Yeah.
I'd still go, that's fine. You know, they need clicks, they need eyeballs. This is what we do in this business. We do it too. Speculation, idle talk, a little bit sometimes.
No,
yeah.
not for clicks. We play for wins,
Right,
not
true.
for clicks.
But-
we lead with our pads.
But because
This game's
it
not
was
played in
Jeff
Hollywood.
Passan,
No, this game's not played in Hollywood.
because it was Jeff Passan, it hits a little differently. We'll play the audio of him speculating or more about a Juan Soto trade right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Air Max, San Diego's highest rated heating and air conditioning company. They did a good job of clearing that crash out of middle lanes north on 5 near Hawthorne Street. And fortunately, guys, no other problems on our roads. Looking for the best in HVAC? Choose Air Max, San Diego's highest rated heating and air company with free diagnostics on all repairs and estimates. See why over 1,100 happy customers have given Air Max 5-star Yelp reviews. See Air Max today at airmax.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Paulie, give us. This was Jeff Passan yesterday. Was it a SportsCenter hit or was it a?
No, it was. He was on a podcast.
He was on a
or something,
podcast
yeah.
discussing what might
Baseball
happen.
is dead. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Talking
might
about the
happen
Padres,
in the offseason for the
cutting
San Diego
payroll.
Padres? Yep.
You have to cash in as much as you can if you're the Padres right now because you are stuck with Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts into their 40s for hundreds of millions of dollars. And you have Fernando Tatis Jr. for 300 plus million still. And that's not a move. Like it's 3 unmovable contracts right there.
It's not.
And so, yeah, you do have to move Juan Soto, and who should be in? Everyone. I mean, the Red Sox, yes. I think the Mets are a scary possibility for Juan Soto. And I think the Mets probably are in a better position to offer prospects to go out and get him because I think Mets ownership has shown the aptitude and the desire to sign guys like Juan Soto long term that the Red Sox have not. And I understand Rafael Devers, thumbs up on that one. Sox stepped up there, but generally speaking, when it comes to free agents, especially their own, the Sox history is not particularly good when it comes to big dollar guys.
Devers and Soto back to back in a lineup would be pretty nasty, I would say, those two. Him in a lineup in New York would be pretty nasty, depending on what they do with some of the guys that they've got on their roster. Don't know really the ins and outs. I know that there was talk of trading Pete Alonso and things like that. But if you had a Lindor, Soto, Alonso combo, yeah, that's pretty dirty. Then again, we also thought a Tatis, Manny, Xander, Soto combo was going to be dirty
Do
as
you
well.
accept what Jeff Passan says,
Sure.
though?
Yeah, I accept it.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
That the Padres need to be trading Juan Soto?
No.
That's pretty much what he said.
I accept that it's a possibility.
Of
Obviously,
course it's a possibility.
I mean, I think.
But he seems to make it sound like it's an
they
imperative.
have to. So he called those contracts unmovable, and that I also disagree with. You would get 20 offers for Fernando Tatis Jr. today.
Don't want to get offers for Fernando Tatis Jr.
Absolutely
but
not.
Yeah, you would.
I'm saying. I mean, there are.
Xander's contract
is a bit immovable. Manny's
probably
immovable as well. But I don't know. I could see. I don't think the Padres would or should trade any of them. Had a great tweet yesterday from our buddy Chad. We had him on the show before years ago. He goes by the Chamner on Twitter. Yeah. He's smart dude, analytic, and he laid this out and he said, "I'm firmly in the camp that in effectively every situation, trading away generational superstars is always a mistake. Soto alone is probably worth more than the aggregate talent in many organizations. The key here is that one WAR in one position is worth far more than in many. Trading Soto because of a salary cap concern is simply compounding a prior mistake with a more grave one."
Yeah, I see what he's saying, though.
I do, too.
WAR, simplifying things down to WAR isn't always the best.
Sure.
But, you can probably expect, around 6 WAR from Juan Soto next year, just alone. There's a lot of prospects. You get 3 great prospects in a trade, and they may not get 6 in their career.
Correct.
Combined. Unless you do really well in terms of hitting on 2 of those prospects, most guys don't amass in a career what Juan Soto does in one season.
Yeah, and you're certainly not going to amass what he's already done in his career war-wise. I mean, he is on the fast track to superstardom if he isn't already, Ben, and I believe that he is. Does he have parts of his game that he can clean up? Yes. Is he willing to do that? I don't know. It doesn't give me any pause in signing him, though. None.
Even if he doesn't clean them up, he's still a superstar. So fine.
Exactly right.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
The funny thing is we all understood this. The plan wasn't the worst plan. They knew that they were overpaying a little bit for some guys, that they were going to risk losing Juan Soto to free agency. And if the Padres were running toward a potential World Series right now, we'd all accept that as the price you have to pay to be a championship contender.
No question.
What makes it so unappealing and galling is the fact that we're making these decisions and the Padres aren't even going to the playoffs, barring an absolute miracle over the next 4 days. That's what makes this tough. If the Padres win a World Series ring and they face, now we got to pay the piper a little bit, we all understand that. We're all probably okay with that, in fact, if the Padres win a World Series ring and go, we'll enjoy Manny and Xander for many years, and we'll thank Juan Soto for what he did and the memories that he left us. What makes it hard isn't the reality of the economics of baseball and finding a way to pay multiple superstars. It's that we didn't get much out of it. We got a trip to the NLCS and a unbelievable non-playoff season here, and that's it from Juan Soto. That feels like a failure of a trade because you didn't get out of it what you were hoping to get out of it. Not that Juan Soto was the failure, but your plan of how you wanted to use Juan Soto to, build your championship team was a failure for A.J. Preller.
Yeah, correct. And somebody makes the point, JR in the chat says, is it just me or does it feel like most of the national media just doesn't want the Padres to do well and keep our stars? You saw it in the offseason. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think all those people, I've said it before, it kind of makes me mad that Dick Manfart was right. And now, if the rumors are true, if what AC writes is true and what people speculating are true, that it's not sustainable after 1 year when everyone was told it was sustainable, and this is going to be a continued, long period of sustainability and victories and everything else. That's the tough pill to swallow.
I don't think that's entirely fair, because if you had told me 4 years ago that by 2024 the Padres would up their payroll to $200 million,
sure,
I would say there's no way they're getting that high. I'd be happy at 150 at this point. You can't tell me Padres aren't going to get up to 200. We're only kind of worried about it because they're scaling back to 200. But there's nothing wrong with a $200 million payroll. And if that's sustainable going forward, you should be able to put together championship contenders at a $200 million payroll with a smart plan going forward. It's not unsustainable.
The problem, though, is that when you say a smart plan, in my opinion at least, a smart plan doesn't include getting rid of a player like Juan Soto. That to me is we can't afford it anymore. And I understand it. It's not my money, right? And the other mistakes, the little mistakes, the hundreds of millions of dollars with nothing to show for it, an international player, nothing. Zero. Adrian Morejon is a constant maybe, and that's it. Those are the ones where you have to look at
But that's
and say,
not a
oh
sign
my
that the
God.
Padres can't sustain. That's a sign that the Padres made some bad decisions.
And now you're going to compound them by getting rid of Juan Soto. And that just makes all those decisions look even worse. And so, yeah, I know it's going to be a challenge to figure out how to sign that guy. I know it is. It keeps me up at night.
But he's the guy we should have signed all along.
But he's the guy you should have signed all along. And Blake Snell maybe should have been extended a little bit last year, or even after he won a couple playoff games for you, you know. And
there's got to be looking ahead. Snell finished last year strong, won some playoff games.
Yep.
You got to look ahead and go, all right, man, he's pretty locked in. We only got him for next year.
Yep.
Maybe we get the ball rolling.
Get the thing rolling.
And
we don't know that
for all we know
that they didn't.
Well, I mean, they do one. I mean, they did with Jake Cronenworth.
They didn't have to, though. But that's the thing. There was he still
well,
was.
That's hindsight, though. If Jake had arguably, all right, we think Jake's going to bounce back. If Jake had hit 290 this year with 24 homers and played,
you still have him for like 3 more years.
You still have him.
Yeah, but you'd say now you've got him at a bargain forever. You got one of the best young, second basemen in the league.
But it's going the other way.
But instead, he went the other way.
Right.
Well, he had been going
he
that
had
way.
been.
Right, but they
older.
They gambled
It was a
based on the
gamble.
character of Jake.
His contract
that was
with his age and how many controllable years Cronenworth had. He's the perfect example of riding it out then let him. Thanks for everything, man.
Yep.
Best of
And
luck.
then if somebody wants to overpay for him when he's 34, it shouldn't be the San Diego Padres.
It turned out to look like it was a mistake as well. But I mean, it's not like they never look forward. They just picked the wrong guys to look forward to.
Yeah, they actually do look forward.
Yeah.
The splashy Xander Bogaerts move, again, completely, really unnecessary. I like Xander. I think Xander's going to do well. I said it yesterday. I think he's going to figure it out and get, have some big hits for us down the stretch. But just, again, one of those things where now you feel completely hamstrung.
Yeah, they're a better
forward.
team with Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah,
but,
I think so.
But they have way more flexibility
without him.
With Ha-Sung Kim at short and Jake at second and finding a first baseman. And then, now you have money to play with this offseason to try to get pitching, to re-sign Blake Snell, whatever you want to do. It's not that Xander is not a good player and not even worth the money.
It's an unnecessary sign.
Kind of
it's just that it wasn't necessarily the right way to spend your money on this particular roster.
My wife looks at it like he's the second fridge, and she thinks we're fine, and we probably are fine with one fridge. Xander Bogaerts is the second fridge, and that's how we roll in my house, Ben. But I don't know, man. I do feel, again, all of this could be flipped on its head as it was last offseason. Nobody really knows anything. Knows with 100% certainty that they're even going to cut payroll. I mean, it's out there. Eric Grupner said on our show they'd like to get some younger, hungrier players, things like that. Yeah, you read between the lines and say, but there's no...
So does every team.
Every team. But there's no guarantee that Peter isn't going to go, you know what, go for it again. Re-sign Juan, do this, do that. I've been proven wrong too many times when I thought, hey, we've got $10 million to spend in the offseason. So I hope that's the case. But, yeah, when Passan says it, you tend to believe it a little bit more, though he's not saying. Now, if he had come out on his podcast and said, no, I'm hearing that they will move Juan Soto, that's when it's time to panic. But speculating where he could be traded,
he wasn't
Steve
reporting.
Cohen,
He was speculating.
the Mets are going to be what the Padres were last offseason for the next however long Steve Cohen's alive and running the Mets. It's always going to be the Mets. Like it used to be the Yankees. Oh, free agents coming up. He's going to the Yankees. He's going to the Yankees. Now it's going to be the Mets in perpetuity until he's done. Right? I mean, that's just going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I can envision a scenario, Ben, where Steve Cohen says, "Bring me Manny Machado to play third base." We haven't had a third baseman here in forever, and Brett Beatty isn't cutting it, and the other guy that they had, it escapes me. He's not cutting it. Bring me Manny Machado. I'll pay. I can absolutely see it. He's a wild man. Now, the guy he brought in, I don't know.
David Stearns.
I don't think his reputation is a gunslinger like that. So they're going to have their their moments together. And if Steve Cohen is going out and signing players, I think anything is on the table. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. It could potentially be heartbreaking as well for San Diego Padres fans because I sure don't want to see him in New York. I don't. I think he's a fit here. I think he mashes, and I want him in the lineup.
2 hours down, 2 hours to go. Craig Elsten will join us in our 8 o'clock hour for his Crossing Streams recommendations. All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet. Find new roads. Back to reset. 2 more hours left with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are halfway home on a Friday here on Ben and Woods. And, it's been an interesting week. It's been a long week, certainly. Been hanging on by the seat of our pants. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, executive producer. To my left is Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. And, we did not think. I thought yesterday, as I was watching the end of the Marlins-Mets game, Marlins had taken the lead, and I thought, all right, well, this will do it. And then tomorrow will be the kind of funeral for the San Diego Padres, and we can go back and rehash some of the things that went wrong. It's just something that you kind of have to do. And but no, it was not to be. The rains came, and New York City right now they are in it.
Insane,
They're in it, man. Central Park reported 2 inches of rain early this morning. I saw a couple of videos on Carroll Street in New York. Cars are about up to the rain and water is standing up to about 3/4 of like a sedan of the tire.
Window.
You can see,
it's like almost to the window.
It's almost to the window.
Like door handle.
I mean, it's almost to the door handle.
The naked cowboy is floating away. From
Yeah.
Times Square.
It does not look good. So then you have to think, can they even get this last half inning on? Can they even get it on Monday? 4 outs on Monday. But yeah, so everything kind of hangs in the balance right now for the San Diego Padres. Certainly, again,
you know what they should do? I mean, since the Mets are supposed to be playing, who are they playing this weekend? It's not a game that impacts playoff standings at all. I don't think their scheduled series is at home.
The Mets
against who?
Oh, they're not playing this weekend.
I mean, well, that's
home.
the thing. But they're supposed to be.
Phillies.
They're supposed to be hosting the Phillies.
Phillies.
Okay, so they're not going to play those games, right? They can say that with almost 100% certainty.
They ain't playing tonight.
Today,
they're not
tomorrow,
playing
they're not playing.
I guess the radar says too. It's not.
Here's
stopping.
what you do: put the Mets on a plane to Pittsburgh, and have them finish the game against the Marlins on the field in Pittsburgh before or after their regularly scheduled game against the Pirates. Marlins Pirates is the weekend. Mets aren't doing anything. They're just sitting around in a game that's going to get rained out. Send them to Pittsburgh, finish the game so you don't have to wait until Monday. Wouldn't that make a lot of sense?
It would. I mean, if they're going to be sitting home anyway.
The Mets are still the home team. They bat in the bottom of the inning. It's a neutral or, it's a Pittsburgh crowd, so it's a kind of a neutral crowd anyway. It's not like anyone was going to show up on Monday for 3 outs for the Mets.
20-minute flight
at the end of the season. Yeah, it's like an hour, 20 minutes. You got to get Steve Cohen's got a team plane. Put them on their plane. Send them to Pittsburgh, bring them back after the game, knock it out, get it done. You weren't going to play anyway because your field is trashed by the rain, and you could get it done, and we'd move on. There, I solved it. Done.
Well, the points are made. Phillies don't need the game anyways for position. They're still waiting to see if finishing the game is even necessary, though. That kind of hangs in the balance, too. But, hey, listen, I did not expect – I fully expected to come in here today and do the in memoriam, for the San Diego Padres of 2023. Was not to be. The baseball gods. It reminds me of Casino when they put the guy's head in the vice. I tweeted it last night.
When the Padres lost on Monday, I would have said there's no chance they're still alive by our show on Friday. None at all. None at all. You'd need so many things to go right just to keep the Padres in with a fraction of a chance by Friday. But here we are, and they're still alive.
I like Jeff's
Friday.
idea here. Settled the game by letting the player slide on the tarp during the rain. Whoever has the furthest slide wins the game. Slip and slide rules. Yes.
Well, and dear listener out there, don't confuse us for sitting here holding on to hope and expecting the Padres to really sneak in or anything like that. It's just shocking they've lasted this long. I can't believe it.
Is it worse? It's worse.
They're stringing us along. Like just
our head is in the vice, and we're doing all this to protect, Johnny M or whatever his name was in Casino. The guy is twisting our head in a vice.
No, Padres are irrelevant. This is an important game for the National League playoff
absolutely.
chase, one way or another, even if the Padres aren't involved at all.
Yeah, we're Tony Dogs right now. That's who we are. We're laying in the vice. They've used ice picks on our private parts, and we're just laying here waiting for the end to come. And it's a perfect capper to a really, really rough year.
Absolute perfection would be the Padres win all 3 games.
Yep.
The Marlins lose all 3 games.
Yep.
The Cubs lose all 3 games.
Yep.
And we have to watch an inning or 4 outs.
4 outs to see if we make the playoffs.
Bottom of the 9th and 1 out remaining in the top, just to see if we're going to get in. All the Marlins have to do is just get 3 outs.
Yeah, it's life support, as nobody says.
Tough 3 outs, though. If it really came down to it on Monday.
It'd be terrifying.
And their playoff life was on the line. Those would be a tough 3 outs to get.
They're always the hardest 3 outs to get, much less, up 1 run. And maybe 1 run. They could still
they could
tack
add on. They still
could
have
add
an outlet.
on.
They got 2 guys on.
You have to do the same personnel, yeah?
Yeah. Put the guys back on base.
The
who were
pitcher,
on
too?
base. Yeah, I mean, you can change pitchers, but you can't go to someone who's already been in that game. So
Right. It's the same type of, but you don't have to. I think it was it Peterson on the mound?
Yeah.
They don't have to go to him, right?
I don't
No,
know.
he started.
Has he faced?
Oh no,
3
yeah, he started.
Whoever is in for the Mets right now, has he faced 3 batters? Can he not come out of the game?
Because again,
that'd be a weird thing.
Well, it would be a fresh inning for the Mets.
Well, the Mets are still pitching.
Mets are still pitching. They still have an out to get.
There's 2 outs.
You said who's pitching for the Marlins?
For the Mets. No, who's pitching for the Mets right now, whether they can change their pitchers. For the Marlins, it's a fresh inning. They can
do anybody
They can put
they
in
want.
anyone who hasn't been in that
Reed
game
Garrett.
already.
Reed Garrett.
So,
again, do you make the point though? The Mets probably aren't playing this weekend. What do you do with these games? I mean, the Mets don't need them. The Phillies don't need them. What the hell do you do?
you probably just end up a couple games short at the end of the season.
And the Phillies, Phillies are stoked. They're like, we don't
Set
have
your pitching rotation.
Yeah, set your rotation. Don't have to.
It's almost like getting a bye.
Yeah.
Without getting a bye.
Reed Garrett was facing his second batter.
Second batter. Okay.
So technically, he has to come.
It says Birdie single to center, and then it says Reed Garrett pitches to Soler. So was it mid at bat that they called the game?
I think it was just about to start. I don't think he didn't throw the pitch yet.
So
There was no
either
count.
way, it's 1 or 2 batters.
Yeah.
Another good point here. Will that the Padres kind of come to Jesus meeting on Monday? Will they be having that meeting as there is they're 4 outs away from being eliminated?
If all 9 things happened this weekend,
If they're still,
they won 3.
We're
alive,
off the hook.
That meeting gets postponed at least a day.
Yeah.
If not a month.
Or at least to the afternoon.
If not, indefinitely.
All right, so just
Doesn't
again,
matter when that meeting happens.
to clarify, the Cubs need to lose every game.
Correct.
The Marlins need to lose every game.
Correct.
That's 6 things that need to happen.
Okay, and we need to win. And we need to win every game.
The Marlins still have 4 to finish.
I'm saying just to even get to Monday.
Yeah, that's to get to Monday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
that's
get
6.
to Monday.
And the Reds need to lose at least 2 out of 3.
That's a lot of stuff.
And the Padres need to win every
And
game.
they need to win every
So
game.
11 things.
It's basically you need
12.
11 losses and you can withstand 1 Reds win out of 12 games.
Oh my God!
You need 11 losses, and the one that you don't get has to be the Reds. That's it. But again, like 4 days ago, it was you needed 18, 19 things,
Yep.
and now they've got it down
to
12.
11, 12. Yeah, this is staggering. It's absolutely staggering. So don't hold out much hope, Padres fans. It should be over soon. I know I've been saying that for 5 days, but man, just been something to watch.
How's your short-term memory now?
Better than my long term.
Better than the long term.
I think
you
so,
can do
yeah.
the quick ones. I had to do some promos yesterday for Channel 10, our new post-game report that's coming on after Monday Night Football, which is cool. We went into the studio and shot. I got a script, but they didn't have teleprompter, so I had to quickly memorize the script. They handed it to me, and then I had to put it down, and I couldn't read it.
They didn't give it to you in advance? I
mean, I got it in an email a couple hours before, but I
Okay.
didn't realize I wasn't going to have a teleprompter, so I didn't study. So I had to, in 5 minutes, memorize my script, and I got it done all right. There was a tongue twister in there, though. The title of the show.
Okay.
You see if you can do this.
All right.
Repeat after me, but do it fast. San Diego County Toyota Dealers Sports Extra Post-Game Report.
San Diego County Toyota Dealers Sports Extra Post-Game Report.
Very good.
Thank you.
I flubbed on that one 4 or 5 times.
I couldn't do it again.
San Diego County Toyota Dealers Sports Extra Post-Game Report.
Toyota is a
Toyota is the one.
That's the
It's a tough one, yeah.
And MLS.
NMLS.
Equal housing lender, NMLS. What? Equal housing lender, NMLS. Equal housing lender, NMLS. Equal housing lender, NMLS. Equal housing lender, NMLS. You do it. NMLS.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Yeah, NMLS. Now I got it. Piece of cake.
You got Toyota on me though. You got that one.
Toyota
pretty
is
nicely
not
reversed.
it's not an easy one to do.
Toy DD.
Toy DD. Your San Diego County Toy DD.
That was a
Visit
whole
SDCCU.
Yep. Also difficult one.
So you can look for me on Monday night around 8:15 or so after the Monday Night Football game on your televisions in San Diego on San Diego County Toyota Dealer Sports Extra Post-Game Report.
Okay. San Diego County Toyota Dealers
Sports Extra
Post-Game Report.
Took
Did you
me a few
watch
takes.
Monday Night Football last night?
I did not, but I did watch some of Thursday Night Football last night.
Damn it. I meant Thursday Night Football.
I actually was very invested in the Raiders game from Monday night. I went back
think
and
that's
watched
the
it.
second week in a row I've done that. Hey, Monday Night Football night. That's Thursday.
Not a ton. By the time I was working and then I looked at it, it was already like 24-3 or something
Yeah,
in
I
favor
was
of the
watching
Lions.
both baseball games that we were following along.
Yes, I was watching the
I had
baseball.
both of those going. I'm like, oh wait, there's
And
football.
then in
I
the
checked
second
score.
half, the Packers tried to get back into it, and I watched a little bit of that, but then the Lions kind of slammed the door on the comeback and ended up winning. If you had David Peterson in your fantasy football lineup, you're off to a good start this week. 121 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Lions running back. They improved to 3-1.
I had Jahmyr Gibbs, so that's cool.
Oh, no. Did not have as good of a
I
game.
saw the tweet of the decade today, this morning, when I logged onto Twitter. It said, just realized that the Bears are the new Lions, the Lions are the new Packers, the Vikings are the new Bears, and the Packers are the new Vikings. And that makes so much
All right,
sense.
Let's break that down for a second. Okay, so
Bears
the
are the new Lions, meaning they're the bottom.
The bottom feeders of the NFC North.
Correct. The Lions are the new Packers.
So they're the
top.
They're the top dogs in that division.
The Vikings are the new Bears.
Team that loses a lot of close games. You
Middle
think
of
they
the
should be a
road.
little bit better, but somehow they keep losing kind of those close games.
And the Packers are the new Vikings. Hey, I can see them
inconsistent.
Yes.
Hey, they look good one week.
Yes.
They don't look good the next
Is that
week.
amazing? Is that an
Yeah.
amazing tweet?
We got a bit of a character change in that division in the NFL.
You know, and it's funny. We, along with everybody else, we laughed at Dan Campbell. We laughed. We thought he was a kook and he was a nutbag, and man, he must be out of his mind. You can't come in there. You can't do like this in the pros. And whatever he's doing, whatever's in the special sauce there in Detroit, the offensive line, you know, I think probably being first and foremost. I mean, there were people tweeting last night. I could run through this line last night. It was that good. They were
And when
pushing.
you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down,
we thought he was a
we're
clown.
going to get up.
Like, we
and
loved
on the way
it.
up,
We
we're
thought
going to
he was
bite
a
a
clown.
kneecap off.
They look incredible.
It's funny because when, obviously they traded Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff and the Rams won a Super Bowl, it looked really bad for the Lions.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you had this guy and he was a Super Bowl caliber quarterback and you just couldn't get it done. But now look a couple of years later and, the Rams went through their struggles last year and Goff now is playing really well. It goes to show you that the quarterback position, there are very few quarterbacks who can overcome like a poor teammates. Like, as good as you are, you can't carry a bad team. You need the help of your offensive line.
Need a
You
running
need
game.
competent coaching and a running game around you. And there are a lot of guys who can look good in the league that have the talent to look good. And if they don't have it, they can look really bad. Jared Goff looked really bad for a couple of those seasons and a lot of those games. But now, give him some talent around him and some support, he can look pretty good, too.
I was really excited to see what Aaron Rodgers would do with the Jets.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a good defense, and they added parts to their offense
They
around
said
him.
their line was going to be the problem, and turns out it was for 4 plays in. And Zach Wilson, he's not great, but he also doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of time. So, you see it. You saw it with Colorado in college. A lot of skill, a lot of flash, a lot of guys that can move down the field, a lot of guys that can catch the ball, defend the ball, but just really undersized defensive and offensive lines. The Lions have some straight-up dogs on both ends, offensive and defensive line. And Dan Campbell's got him believing. Jordan Love, did not have a good start, had a decent finish, tried to get him back in the game. They had a really bonehead penalty as well, really bonehead penalty in that game. They gave the Packers a free shot down the field with 000 as well, picked up about 50-something yards. It was an interesting game. I said I had seen that statistics about Jared Goff against the spread on.
I saw it after the game.
It was staggering. He's like 14-1 or something, and I was like, all right, I'll roll with it. I took the Lions last night -2. Eat one of the easiest covers you'll get.
All right, let's take a timeout. You brought that up, the Thursday night game, and I wanted to mention something I heard our colleague Chris Ello saying yesterday that I both disagree with, but also kind of agree with about the Amazon Prime broadcasts. And, have you made that adjustment to Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime? We'll get to that. Craig Elsten's going to join us here at the bottom of the hour. Crossing
David
Streams.
Montgomery, right, by the way.
What did I say?
David Peterson.
David Montgomery.
Peterson was the guy pitching for the Mets,
right.
I believe. Yes. We're a baseball show.
Yeah.
All right, so settle down.
It's Ben and Woods. We'll be back after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan. Got a colleague in the crosshairs here, 97.3 The Fan, Ben and Woods. I was driving in yesterday listening to Gwen and Chris, and my friend Chris Ella, who I have known for many years, was railing on his inability to figure out how to stream the Amazon Prime Thursday night football game. And my initial reaction was, of course...
Do you think he was doing a bit?
No, this is Chris. And he, so what he does instead is as soon as the game is over on Amazon Prime, they replay it on NFL Network. So he will then wait.
It's like 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, and then he will record it. He's also, I want to get your opinion on this about Chris. He does not like to watch anything live. He likes to tape it.
What?
And so he can fast forward through the commercials. Hates commercials more than anything.
Yeah, we work on radio. We appreciate all of our sponsors here at 97.3 The Fan. Every one of you.
He will wait. Any game that even starts at like 7 o'clock, he will wait until at least
baseball, football, basketball?
Yeah, he will wait until at least 9 o'clock.
I can't.
And start it so he does not have to wait through any of the commercials. Like, I don't know what he did before DVRs, but every game he watches is on a DVR, is recorded and then watched later in the evening.
You know why?
And he has to avoid finding out what happened because he also wants to still be surprised and have that element of surprise.
It fresh.
Yeah.
So my problem when I taped the Irish game a couple of weeks ago and I had to go to soccer. I came back and I'm like, fast forward. I'll fast forward through this commercial. And I'm like, nothing's happening. You
don't have the experience anymore.
I'll see 6 points. I see 6 points on the board. I'm like, crap, I rewind, watch the scoring play. I don't get anywhere near the same kind of
He goes through
enjoyment.
it. I mean, to each their own, but I was ready to completely rail on him about the Amazon Prime thing because
it's pretty easy.
I mean, we got, it took us 5 minutes to set it up on our TV at home. It's like a click away now. It's very easy to get to at home.
If you don't use your smart TV and you don't use Amazon Prime, you got to log in the first time.
Yeah.
And then
it requires like 3 or 4 minutes of setup, and then you're good to go.
Most remotes have the voice control now. Just Amazon Prime, go.
But then I was at work yesterday, and I go, wait, I don't have a smart TV or a Roku at work or anything, and I didn't have the ability to necessarily watch it. I could put it on my computer, but I'm also working on my computer. I can, but then the battery is completely I'm using streaming and everything.
Do you have a charger?
I do, but I don't.
Things right here that you can
plug right in,
and
it juices up your phone.
I do, but I mean, it's just a little tiny phone, and it's not the best watching experience.
No,
on the
but
phone.
I mean, you still
have
watch
TV.
Go buy a new 32-inch TV. They're like $100 now.
For work, yeah. I just get my own work TV now.
Yeah, and it probably has Amazon Prime loaded on there.
Yeah. That was the only thing that I was going like. Now I'm him.
I'm a moron when it comes.
I'm here at work and I'm not really watching it because I don't want to watch it on my phone.
I'm a moron when it comes to anything technology, but even I figure out how to watch Amazon Prime. I use Amazon Prime all the time, and it's right there in the when you
that's what I got
open
at
Amazon Prime, and it just boom, it pops right up.
I got my choice. I got Hulu or Amazon Prime, and
I still
we have a Samsung in here. If you just hit the home button. Like there's YouTube,
all
Netflix,
Hulu,
Prime,
Disney,
Hulu.
Apple TV, HBO. You got everything.
You'd be surprised because here at the radio station we got big TVs. At the TV station I got one TV at this size. That's
but
all
you guys have a huge radio there. That's the weird part. That's the very strange.
Those giant,
massive radio. It doesn't really make any sense.
Ben just sits there with
big old dials to tune.
This is great. I War of the Worlds.
It's Little Orphan Annie.
It's a good bit.
Drink your Ovaltine.
Good bit, my friend. No, I listen. I still can't wrap my head around not wanting to watch games live. I feel like I'm missing out on something.
Well, I mean, nowadays it's not even watching if you can't tweet along with the game.
That's
for me,
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you watch it 3 hours later, obviously you can't have that experience.
You just can't log into Twitter. You can't log into Twitter. You can't check your phone.
You gotta turn your phone off.
Yeah,
you got ESPN. I have an
Noties,
MLB app. Like 97.3 Odyssey sends out notifications if it's a Padres game.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, if I know it's already happened, I can't recreate that surprised enjoyment feeling.
No, and the funny thing is spoilers never really bothered me. And with TV shows, I'm gonna watch it anyway. If you tell me what happened, I'm like, oh, cool. It never bothers me. I'm not a big Don't spoil it. I haven't gotten to watch it yet.
If it was that important, I'd watch it live.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I don't care. And
Scravy said, well, I mean, I like the commercials because then you can get up, it's a break, you can grab something, you can do something else. And Chris said, well, I can do that anytime I want. I just hit pause and I can get up and I don't miss anything. And I come back and I hit play.
It's true.
Whenever he wants.
I mean, we love advertisers and we love commercials. We love commercials. Love them. Can't get enough of them. Here's a quick shout out. Our buddy John McCander is his name. He's turning 50 years old, Ben, and he is celebrating his 50th birthday in Las Vegas right now. And he's out there with his wife, Laura, and a bunch of friends, and wanted to give him a happy 50th birthday. Ours will be here before you know it.
Yeah.
You got 48 coming up. You haven't even hit 48
You are
yet.
already 48.
I am
You're less
48.
than 2 years away from the big 5-0. 5-0.
We're going to throw a huge party. Van Halen will play it. It's going to be a blast.
Are we going to do a joint party?
A joint party? Like smoke weed together?
No, a joint
we could
together like celebrate our 50th with listeners. We can do
I would love it.
A big event in a couple of years. Ben and Woods turns 50.
Ben ripping huge fat joints. I mean, you never know where you'll be.
Sometime in between our two birthdays.
You haven't had a midlife crisis yet.
Not yet.
You're still due one. I've had several. You are still due one. It's going to be off the hook when it happens. I can't wait for it. That content is the content that I need almost more than anything. But happy birthday, happy 50th, John. This show will go very, very high into the stratosphere if Ben has a midlife crisis. It's going to be a Corvette, a Camaro or something.
Leather jacket.
Motorcycle would be the best.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of people age 50, we got Craig Elsten joining us coming up in our next segment for some Crossing Streams recommendations.
He's got a banger for you. A banger.
All right,
I watched it last night.
Looking forward to it now that baseball season is wrapping up and we're not going to have Padres to watch and listen to every night. We might need a few more recommendations. So Craig will join us when we come back with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by BalancePro.org. Are you planning to purchase a home this year? Balance offers pre-purchase counseling and education to help you get ready. Make a free appointment with Balance by visiting BalancePro.org today or call 1-888-456-2227. All I've heard is Woods knows what show Craig is going to be recommending, and it is a banger, is
I
what Woods
love
likes to
that
say.
he gave me a little taste.
Yeah, I didn't get the taste.
No,
I
you're at
find
work.
out with everybody else.
Oh, you're watching sports.
Coming up in this segment. Next, with Ben and Woods, after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is sponsored by Lowe's. Got a few things to watch out for in your travels. In the North County, southbound 15 before El Norte Parkway, an accident involving a motorcycle. It's in the center divide. Also, reading reports of a large rock in the slow lane, East 52, right before the summit, and on the Fairmont Avenue on-ramp to westbound 8. Collision involving a couple vehicles there over the right shoulder. Lowe's knows fall is the perfect time for outdoor projects. Right now, you can keep your yard looking its best and save. Take care of leaves with leaf blowers, starting at just $89.98. Lowe's knows home improvement. While supplies last, see store for details. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Now let's go out to our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline. It is a Friday. We're joined by our friend from the San Diego Soccer's Padres Hot Tub Podcast and Crossing Streams recommendations every week here on Ben and Woods. Craig Elsten is with us. Now, Craig, you already turned 50, right? We were just talking about our 50th coming up.
Yeah, 51.
What'd you do for your 50th?
I'm Trevor Hoffman right now. I got Hoffman on my back.
What was your big 50th like? Did you buy yourself something? Did you do a trip? What did you do for 50?
We just had I don't even usually do a party, right? So we had a little thing down at Border X Brewing, where they had the taqueria in the back and, just some beer and tacos. And it was pretty
You didn't go
low-key,
crazy over the top then. See, there was not something huge for the 50.
Re-upped my blood pressure medication.
Yeah,
smart move.
These are the things you do when you're 50.
I told my wife already, like, if some iteration of Van Halen isn't playing my 50th, then we have a serious problem somewhere. Even if it's cover band, like, I need a big blowout for 50.
Han Valen.
Han Valen, exactly. Han Valen would be amazing. I need. We're going to do it big, and you're invited. And everyone's listening. You're invited as well. Do a big beach blowout.
Oh, well, I thought it was. I was happy, but now everyone's invited.
Well, everyone's invited.
Well, it's still 2 years away.
Yeah, we got
some time.
We got some time. Bud.
Okay, fair.
So,
you might pare down the guest list a little.
So I got a text from Craig last night, and I was like, oh, I wonder how he's feeling. And it was not baseball related. He was giving me a taste of what he's going to talk about today. I'm very excited to talk about it. But are you still one eye open, Craig, looking at the scoreboard right now?
It's funny. We talked about this on yesterday's Padres Hot Tub show, and I'm of two minds. Just like being
we all
fully
are right now.
Right?
Yeah.
When I'm watching, and I was doing it yesterday, first your scoreboard check. Okay, the Cubs are down 4 to the Braves. I don't have to watch that game. The Braves are good. They'll win. Okay, Marlins. Oh, they're up 1-0. Oh, that run got taken off. I'm going to go watch this game.
Yes.
It's 0-0 now.
Yes.
Tuned in, watched it right through to the point where there was a rain delay and Keith Hernandez was lovingly embracing a bottle of Tullamore Dew, just dying to crack it open. Yep. And the Marlins are ahead. And so basically that game is over unless they blow it in the 9th. And now we find out they'll not even play it unless it matters. So it's like a partial stay of execution. Like, you've mostly lost this game, so you're probably dead, but you're still not completely dead. So here's my point to answer your question. When I am watching, then it's kind of like the dog in me, not the DAWG dog in me, but the one that's just staying in the moment, and is just there to be happy and respond to stimuli and maybe make better poops. And as I'm watching the game in that situation, I'm excited and I'm like, yeah, let's go. Come on, Mets.
It is kind of fun.
Right? And then I take a step back and I go, you know what? On our preseason show, we all did our best case scenario, our actual pick, and our worst case scenario. And our group worst case scenario, worst, was 85 wins. And look at the standings, boys. 85 wins is going to make the playoffs. Like, the worst case scenario for this team was going to make the playoffs. And they couldn't even get to that. They're trying to get to 81 or 82 wins.
Yep.
And then we're trying to goof off like that's enough to make the playoffs. Of course not. Pittsburgh's going to lose a game or St. Louis is going to lose a game over the weekend. Someone's going to lose a game over the weekend. But 85, maybe 84 was enough. And we couldn't get to that.
Yeah, apparently our worst cases were not bad enough when we started the season to do our speculating. But when you do have a season where you don't even meet your worst case scenario expectations, generally you anticipate some tough and unpleasant decisions. Now, we don't know what the Padres are going to do about the GM or the manager or Juan Soto. We do expect them to, let Blake Snell and Josh Hader go. But if you had to make one really tough decision about the San Diego Padres coming up, Craig, what's the tough decision that you think you make first?
Well, it's
what? We lost you.
Right.
Lost you.
So,
oh no, we're losing you a little bit, bud.
It starts with Preller, right? Check.
Gotcha.
Okay. It starts with Preller. He's the tip of the spear. He's the head of this whole thing, and I think that the meeting that's been reported on Monday, that's a big meeting. I think we're all going to be on pins and needles. I'm going to subscribe to Ben and Wood's Gold Tier because I heard you guys say you're going to live stream.
Yeah, we're going to live stream it.
Right?
Mm-hmm. They don't know that yet, but we're going to try.
Okay.
We'll make the ask at least. We make a lot of asks.
Yeah. Let's speak it into existence. Ben and Wood's Ultra Gold Tier. Like Ultra.
Ben's just going to be standing on Woods' shoulder
I would sign
with
up.
a camera.
I'd sign up for the 1-day free trial.
Me too.
For sure. So that's fascinating. That's the biggest decision because when I think about, and again, something we talked about yesterday, when I think about what is the path from 250 million to 200 million that allows you to be successful in 2024, it's a very difficult, narrow path. Is AJ Preller the right kind of GM to walk that path? Every time he's tried to win, it's been big contracts, big trades, big moves, big money. And does he have that club in his bag? He's never shown it. The only time he's done it is with a teardown. We're not expecting a teardown. So can he do that? I'm not sure. Is it even fair to let Preller go and hire like a Chaim Bloom and say, hey, guess what? When you showed up, you had to trade Mookie Betts in Boston. Now you've showed up and you got to trade Juan Soto in San Diego. Like you've been specially designed for this layer of baseball hell. I don't know. It's difficult for anybody, but I do think a fresh eye from the outside has a better opportunity to examine and identify waste. Whereas somebody who acquired everything thinks everything is pretty good in some way.
That's a really, really interesting point, and yeah, it's going to be a tough decision. If there's a lot of reading between the lines and stuff, but when Eric Krupner was on this show last Friday, talking about a younger, a hungrier team, I think you can read some of that stuff into it. Obviously, you've read all the pieces that have come out this week. I think the pieces did a good job, Craig, of saying, well, this could happen. And this could also happen. I mean, no one really, really knows. Nobody really knows what the books say. Nobody really knows what the plan is. I do think that they know. I do think that they know what the plan is moving forward. And for you, what's the worst case scenario? Is it both stay, Bob, AJ? Is it one leaves? And who would, if you had your choice? I think I know what the answer is. But what's the worst case scenario out of who may stay and who may go?
Worst case scenario is Melvin leaves, Preller stays. There's no change in the front office. Preller solidifies and constricts his circle just like he did from 2021. And we just get another winter of Preller, with a couple of, oh my God, what just happened? Moves and more commitment and more backloading of for this franchise. I really think that there's a flexible path for the Padres to win next year, even if they trade Juan Soto, even if they let Blake Snell and Josh Hader go. I think that there's a way for this Padres team to win. I think they've shown, well, I don't put anything into these September results. I'm going to be honest. I'll strike that part from the record. But I think there's a path for them to win. What I don't know is if there's a path for them to win the same way that they've been trying. Go get another big money thing. go spend at the top of the market for Blake Snell to keep him, just as an example. We've been team extension, sign another guy in their 30s to a long extension. That's the kind of thing that could cripple this franchise throughout the back half of the 2020s. And I don't want to see that. So that, and besides, what are you doing getting rid of Bob Melvin?
Right.
You know, I mean, if he wants to go, okay. If he says, give me a 3-year contract extension or make
else.
me walk, or different story. But what he's saying is, I'm going to play out the last year of my contract. It might be my last year as a manager. I'm a manager here. I want to manage this team. You got to roll with that. There's nobody you're going to bring in from the outside that's going to make anybody feel better about the Padres in 2024 than we feel about Bob Melvin now.
I don't disagree with you, Craig, when you said what would be the worst thing that could happen. I just don't. How can that possibly be the conclusion the Padres draw? You know what? We need to make this more AJ's team. Really consolidate his power and give him, even more control over everything. When all we keep hearing, the criticism of AJ, he's got too much control. He's got too many fingers, too much meddling going on. They can't possibly be the answer, can it, for the Padres, that they're going to end up firing Bob and saying, yeah, we need to really, even go more behind AJ going forward?
Well, I wouldn't think so, certainly. And that's why I do believe the interview you guys had with Grupner last week was one of the more consequential that we've had on 97.3 The Fan, and I definitely noticed how, for example, Kevin Acey's tone in his articles changed immediately to start adding a little bit of uncertainty around AJ Preller. That had never been there in the reporting before. It was always 100% Seidler's behind Preller, 100% this is continuing. We're going to blame it on luck. We're going to blame it on this and that. Grupner changed entirely the dynamic with his public comments, and immediately after, reporting starts following. Right now, there's going to be a meeting. Now, equity partners are involved. That sounds a little scary. That sounds a little like, uh-oh, what's happening? But a big meeting, I like the idea of a big meeting. They've showed some responsibility. Grupner admitted some of the things I've been begging this front office to admit for a while. And now even the players are admitting it, just saying, this is just such a lost opportunity for this franchise. We can't sweep it under the rug. We can't just say, because here's the thing, guys, run it back. We're fine. We're unlucky. You can't. You can't.
You can't. It's impossible. You're going to lose too many guys. There's too many holes. You can't. If it was the exact same team and everyone's coming back, fine. I could be sold on that. It's not. It's not even going to look close to the same.
Precisely. So with that, it's a different team. Things are going to change. Is this the right guy to keep it going? Is this the guy flexible enough to make the change? Padres are going to make that choice. Listen, AJ Preller does a lot of things right. He does. And I'm just going to throw something out there. I threw it out on the pod yesterday. I'll throw it out here. I've got an idea already of who the Padres' third starter could be next year. You ready for this one?
Yeah. Yes.
You're a Yankees fan, Woodsy. He's coming back this weekend. Frankie Montas.
Montas, yeah, he's an interesting guy. He's been banged up, I think, since he got there.
He was a huge acquisition when he was acquired from Bob Melvin's A's, where he was the ace of the staff. He was ineffective and then injured for the Yankees. He's done nothing for them. He's coming back to get 3 innings in or something just to prove that he exists. He's going to be a free agent.
Interesting.
There's a not top of the market purchase. There's somebody coming back to his health and to his success instead of taking something from the very top of the shelf on Rodeo Drive, the old AJ Preller Star Chaser method. That's the kind of pitcher. And by the way, look at Lugo, look at Martinez.
Great pickups.
He's made those types of moves. That's the kind of move the Padres need to make this offseason. I believe that's the way you can stay flexible. You got to find guys like that. Don't chase the top dollar.
All right, Craig, what's this Crossing Streams recommendation that Woodsy got a sneak preview of and is so excited about?
All right, I got turned on to this week, guys. There's 3 episodes out of 6 available right now on Paramount Plus, and it's straight up one of my favorite shows of 2023 so far. This is The Gold. The Gold is a BBC co-production. It ran in England in February this year, and now it's playing out on Sundays on Paramount Plus. So there's 3 episodes out. The 4th will drop on Sunday. And this is based on a real-life event. In 1983, in England, in South London, a group of robbers, 6 robbers in a van, came to a Brinks security place hoping to break into the safe and steal what was there. What they didn't know when they broke in was that a stash of $27 million worth of gold bullion was being stored in that location for one night only. It was so big it couldn't even fit in the safe. And they basically stumble into
it was happenstance.
Gold bars.
It's amazing.
Right? They stumble into enough gold bars to fill a van. And then the question becomes, what are you going to do when you are the robbers and you find $27 million of gold?
It's quite a heist, but then you're like, well, now we just have gold bullion sitting around. What do we do with it?
You can't just take it to a rice restaurant and go, okay.
All right, we'll do, can I get this to go? And you just take this brick of gold. It's really good. And it's like, I mean, the first 5 seconds, you're like, oh, crap.
$29.95. How much is that in gold bars?
Gold bullion. It starts off, and you're like, I mean, it hits you right in the mouth, right when they come out. It reminds me of, like, The Town. Remember how the movie The Town started? And you're just like, all right, you got me. I'm all in. It's really good.
And, end of the writer's strike this week, so it'll take a while to get everything fired up again, but hopefully we'll get some new content.
And it's on Paramount Plus, right?
That's
Craig?
Paramount Plus,
Paramount Plus.
Exactly right. And just the only thing I'd add is that it starts with the robbery. And the other show I'd compare this to, and it's a big time comparison, is The Wire, because then it really becomes cops and robbers. You've got the people who are trying to clean the money and move the gold. You've got this task force that's trying to chase them down. They're all working similarly. This show moves fast, and it goes places you're not going to expect. Jack Loudon from Slow Horses plays the key fencer, the person who's trying to move the gold.
He's
Dominic
great.
Cooper, who was in Preacher and is so terrific. He plays kind of the upper crust guy who's trying to move the money. It's a really fun British cast, and it's a fast-moving show. You're going to enjoy The Gold. I truly predict it.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Craig, appreciate it as always. Enjoy your weekend, and who knows what next week may bring with the San Diego Padres.
Indeed, we'll be here to cover it all. Of course, Padres Hot Tub available on all the same platforms. You get this great show, Ben and Woods. Great week, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Craig. Craig Elsten on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. And just a reminder, you can always tune in to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti. It is tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. here on 97.3 The Fan. Boomer Esiason, Mike Valenti breaking down all the NFL action for the weekend coming up, analysis, picks, and more. It's always all available on the free Odyssey app as well. Presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it, and by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. All right, we're down to the final hour of the week here. Now, we didn't even do a Rhino report yesterday, so I'm expecting an
just a banger today.
Extra good version.
How about 6 stories for the next hour?
That would
Paulie?
be perfect.
That'd be great.
I see Shrek Airbnb on my rundown here. Is that still part of the equation?
Might be.
Okay.
You never know.
Surprise, surprise. The Rindle Report coming up next with some headlines as we head toward 10 o'clock with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Do I have authorization, co-pilot?
Yeah. That was...
I got Woodsy into it.
That was...
I was watching the stream of the Ryder Cup, and the first day is wrapping up right now. Outside of Rome, hasn't been a good day for the Americans. They got swept in the morning alternate shot, 4-0.
I can't believe what I just saw, by the way.
They were making a nice run in the afternoon, 4-ball, the best ball, to get back into it. But on the last hole, 18, with the match tied, Justin Thomas, who didn't play in the morning, knocked his nearly holed out for eagle on the par 5. He had like 2 feet for birdie, which looked like it was going to win the match. But Victor Hovland had like a 25, 30-footer for birdie. Rolled it in to have that match for a half point. And then Brooks Koepka and Scotty Scheffler come into the last hole, 1 up on Jon Rahm and Nicola Højgaard. Rahm, though, puts his second shot on the green on this par 5. Now, Scheffler chips close, so he's got about 2.5 feet for birdie as well. Rahm just rolled in about a 25-footer for eagle,
Makes the eagle
to win the last hole, and they get a half point out of that one. So the score now, and then Rory and Fitzpatrick beat Xander and Colin 5-3. It's now 6-1 in favor of the Euros with 1 match left on the course. U.S. is 2 up with 2 to play in that one. Max Homa and Wyndham Clark against Justin Rose and Robert McIntyre, and I think they're in good shape to win that one. But it looks like the U.S. is going to be down a fairly significant 6-2 after the first day. It takes 14.5 points to win the Ryder Cup.
My Lord.
So they're almost halfway after the first day with
This
6.
putt was ungodly.
Oh,
Uphill, we both, Ben and I both go, oh, he missed it.
Yeah.
And nope, he did not. He did
Same
not
with
miss it.
Hovland's. You didn't see that one while Craig was talking. But
Son of a gun.
Crazy putts. They've been making everything today. Hovland, the very first hole of the Ryder Cup, Hovland chipped from the green. He pulled out, he was like 65 feet away and had to go over the fringe. So he brought out a chipper on the green and made it. I mean, it's been that kind of day for Team Europe and the opposite kind of day for Team USA.
It's hard to
just
root. It's hard
blitzed.
to root against our, fellow Callaway team member, Jon Rahm.
Yeah.
We are all Team
But
Callaway.
what a
They did not
clutch
ask us
18th hole
to,
eagle.
They didn't ask us to play in this one. Maybe next year or the next time they have it.
The Ryder Cup?
Yeah. But it just
the next one, by the way, 2 years is every 2 years. So Bethpage Black will host the next Ryder Cup in 2025.
Well, we'll look forward to that, Greg.
Well, they need a big day just to get back into it so they're within striking distance for the 12 singles matches on Sunday.
Man, looks like they're running away with it right now.
So far, yeah.
Oof, man, that was unbelievable. Sorry, Paulie. This is your segment, my friend.
It's Paulie's segment. It's
Take
time
it
for the
away.
Roundel Report. Let's get to it.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Roundel Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Sorry about that, Paulie.
I don't know
We-
what I'm going to talk about
We took
now.
all your stuff, dude.
You guys just took everything I was going to say with that very visual,
detailed.
Yeah, that story that is totally visual, and you kind of need to see it. But
Yeah.
it was a great description. Great description.
Golf on the radio is a tough. It's a tough look.
Wait, is it any different than baseball on the radio? You described his putt very well.
Uphill,
25
feet.
footer.
Yeah,
You didn't think it was going to turn right, but then it just snuck in at the end.
Maybe I'm good at this.
Jarred it back of
You're
the
like
jar.
the Jesse Agler of,
Yeah.
of describing golf.
And Jon Rahm is a little bit fubsy.
No,
Is that the
he's
word?
not. He's not fubsy.
Stocky.
He's spindly.
Jon
Jon
Rahm.
He's not overweight. What are you talking about?
He's a big dude.
He's a big guy, but he's not
John
portly.
Daly's fubsy.
Yeah, he's not portly. I guess he's not spindly.
No,
but he's not
Manute Bol
fubsy.
is spindly. He's
Yeah.
fubsy.
He's not fubsy.
No.
That's portly. That's stocky.
He's
You gotta be
stocky.
you gotta be short to be stocky.
No, you don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you fubsy?
I'm too tall to be fubsy.
You're not spindly.
No, I'm not spindly, but I'm
Am
too
I
tall
fubsy?
to be fubsy. Not quite. I think you're. I
I've
think you're
almost just
tall
called him
enough.
an effer. I'm not kidding.
I
It was
don't
this
think so.
close.
Not
You
quite.
effer. Guys,
quite.
twice today I've gotten close. I need to get the hell out of here.
All right, gentlemen. New York Post.
Not quite.
The New York Post had a sit down with Rob Manfred.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
were talking about gambling.
This is
and
really
baseball.
something.
And basically,
Rob
long
Manfred
story
bets
short,
thousands of dollars every day on baseball.
He's a degenerate gambler.
Him too.
He actually bet $2 million that the Padres would not make the playoffs.
He's like Mattress Matt.
Yeah, and he has sabotaged the season.
No, that's all. That's all hearsay, guys.
No, he's talking about basically the long story short is stay tuned for the alternate gambling broadcast coming soon to Major League Baseball. We don't really know how that's going to look or when we're going to see it exactly. But baseball, like every other major sports league, is leaning into the gambling aspect. I mean, you hear the NFL broadcasters now. They're just openly like, oh, that's a bad beat.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You know, and he wants it to be more of an alternate, like the Manning cast kind of a thing, or like the national championship. There's 12 different broadcasts you can watch.
He said something to the effect of, too, where, like, they want baseball to become to where, like, you can bet on every swing and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there was something in it, like, oh, no, you're going to be able to...
Yeah, in-game, prop bet.
Yeah, prop bet on every swing. He says... You're always going to have that clean broadcast. If we get there to betting off the screen, it's going to be on a separate digital feed, and the true gambler can opt into.
Right. Are we mad about this, or are we okay with this? I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to watch it.
If it's not for you,
probably,
it's not for you. But if you want to have that option,
the only feed.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. It'll be a second feed, and if you really want to. All right, I think this 3-2 pitch is going to be a ball, and you want to put $20 on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best way to spend your life, but to each their own, and to have that available, I'm okay with that.
He says no. They say no sport is set up quite like baseball to allow gambling directly on the screen. Pauses between pitches and at bats allow the bettors to. The intimate betting capabilities that they crave. Can you imagine being such a junkie that you're betting on every pitch?
It's like the
just
pause
sitting
between like a roll of the dice at the craps table.
Yeah,
and then you put your new bet down, and all right, here comes the next pitch, and you
It's an
roll
interesting
it.
point.
And then there's another bet, and there's another pitch.
Like
and
you can't do that like basketball. A guy misses a 3-point shot.
You can't quickly bet he's going to make his next one because they're just running down the court.
Oh, the Heat got the rebound. I'm going to bet real quick that they're going to make the next
Yeah,
shot.
right.
But
Yeah.
You can't. It's just too fast.
I mean, you can bet like at the end of the half on a new number and stuff, but yeah, it evolves. Baseball literally could have like real-time adjustable bets that go batter to batter or even pitch to pitch. I'm okay with it.
I would at least check it out. It sounds fascinating.
As long as if I can do it online, I'll do it for one game. Just
Check
one.
it out.
Yeah, just once.
Just want to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
You feel like you know baseball well enough, the flow of a game.
You feel like
you could. How many times you watch a game and you go, I know what's going to happen next?
Oh, yeah.
And if you could bet on that, then like I think Blake Snell's going to walk this guy and then strike out the next guy.
The opposite would happen.
All right, I think I can do this.
It's tough, man. It's a tough sport to bet on.
You know what? I'm going to just switch it up on the fly here. Had a story on just an update on Mel Tucker. He's going to sue Michigan State, but it's pretty much the update. He sucks, and I don't really want to give that much more credence. I'd rather highlight a positive. How about the Baltimore Orioles? They officially clinched the AL East last night, their 100th win of the season.
Pretty awesome.
And I really just, I don't know if the news was, what was that?
Sorry, my computer did something.
I don't know if the news was expected in Baltimore, but for them to also announce that they reached a 30-year agreement with the city of Baltimore and announce that on the same night that they clinched the division, I thought that was really special. I thought that was really cool.
They talked about...
We had talked with Adam Jones about some of the issues they were working on. Because Camden Yards, while was the new style of ballpark, was like the first one that changed how ballparks are made, for Petco Park and Oracle Park and all the ones that came after it, it's getting on the older side now. And they were looking for upgrades or a new stadium somewhere. And I guess they reached a deal where I'm sure the city, local government's going to chip in to kind of update some things, but they're going to stick around. And you can't have the Baltimore Orioles moving out of Baltimore.
One of the coolest pictures I've seen from this season was Orioles manager Brandon Hyde in tears. And that guy sat through some really, really tough seasons, 100 lost seasons, the brutal rebuild. They said, the rebuild of the Baltimore Orioles guys started when they traded Manny Machado to the Los Angeles Dodgers for Dean Kramer, who went out and pitched really well last night. I mean, and they've come full circle. It's been 5 years for them to win the AL East. Staggering feat with the personnel that they've done it with, too. They've drafted.
It's been longer than that.
I thought it was 5 years ago.
I thought I looked it up yesterday. It was like 2014.
When they traded Manny?
When they won, the last time they won the division?
Oh, no. That's not what I'm saying.
Sorry.
I'm saying they won. The rebuild started when they traded Manny for Dean Kramer. And at the time, everyone's like, well, Dean Kramer, oh, my God. And he's on the bump last night. Pretty poetic. Brandon Hyde just sitting there in tears after the game. What a bunch of young studs they are. Kyle Bradish, incredible. Gunnar Henderson, incredible. Adley Rutschman, incredible. They've drafted incredibly well. They've developed well. It's the dream. It's the dream. Now we'll see. See what happens. There's a bunch of young
against them.
I think I saw the Brandon Hyde stat was he's the first manager since Connie Mack to manage a team to 100 losses, but then get to stick around to manage them to 100 wins.
Yep.
Nobody gave us a chance to start this year. Nobody.
That's true. That's actually
That's 100
true.
wins right there. That's 100 wins in our first step. We just won the AL East.
I got goosebumps.
I do too.
That was...
God, dude. Like last night, I saw that. I saw the J.P. Crawford walk-off in Seattle.
Lord.
And I'm sitting next to my wife.
I'm so mad.
And I'm watching these highlights, and I just look over at Megan and I go, remember when baseball was fun here for
Yeah,
like a couple of months?
such
that
a blast.
one time?
Can I make an admission? When Seattle, so they loaded the bases with nobody out. They need these 2 runs. They need to score and keep their chances basically alive. And the first 2 guys made outs. I had the tweet locked and loaded. I said, whatever cloud was hanging over the Padres for the first 5.5 months of the year has floated over to the Mariners these last couple, because they've been not coming through in the clutch. They've been losing these close ones all of a sudden, and then they get the walk-off by J.P. Crawford, and I go, oh, never mind. They do not have the same Padres cloud hanging over them. They did come through with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
Aroldis Chapman comes in, gets the bases are loaded, and then they get the 2 outs. J.P. Crawford coming through and just keeping them alive. What's their situation? They need to win out too, or no?
So the Rangers, the Mariners are now a game behind the Astros with 3 to play.
3 to play.
Yeah, and the Rangers have a 2-game lead over Houston. So Rangers are almost, they like magic numbers, I think 2 going into today. They are in a really good spot.
They're playing Seattle.
Yeah. But Seattle needs to win. So, yeah. So it still could be anyone's game because Seattle kind of controls what's going on here.
Give me all the chaos at this point.
It's going to be a fun weekend in
Yeah, it
baseball.
is. Not for us, but for other teams. Yeah, good teams.
Probably not for us.
Yeah, probably not
Most
for us.
likely.
Most likely.
Not for us. All right, and then finally, Shrek Airbnb. Shrek, of course, one of the most successful Pixar, or no, that was DreamWorks actually, but the animated movies, huge franchise. And now,
Woods, have you seen Shrek?
No.
You've never seen Shrek?
Mm-mm.
Shrek 2? No.
What about Shrek 3?
Absolutely not.
Shrek is a decent movie.
It's been on
funny.
at the house before, but I don't stop down for those.
It's a good one.
I watched the second one. I think they did a bunch of spin-offs. I like the first one a lot, though.
The first one's a solid animated
Eddie Murphy's
movie.
great as Donkey.
Bo and I did watch Meet the Parents yesterday.
Bo would love
he
Shrek.
Really enjoyed. I think he does like Shrek.
Yeah.
Well, now you can go to Scotland and you can stay at Shrek's Swamp.
Okay.
It is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom little forest abode.
Oh, yeah.
As they're describing it on Airbnb. Now, there's no price listed yet. They have not gotten
It's
there.
like market price when you go to a fancy restaurant.
Right.
Like,
MP.
What is MP? I'll take this.
They're making it
it's
available.
$700, bud.
It's never... Yeah, it's $4.
Yeah, exactly.
How come the market price is never less?
Right. They're making the Shrek Swamp available at the end of October for 2 nights.
Cool.
And you have to, it's kind of like a lottery system. You have to enter to win, and then you will still have to pay. Again, price
MP.
unknown right now.
MP.
The shack comes with essentials like towels, toiletries.
I would hope so.
Anything like that. But there's no kitchen.
Oh.
There's no TV. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no air conditioning. Like, you are living in the swamp.
Why don't I just sleep in a park? It's the same thing. Just sleep under a bench somewhere.
It's for the Instagram vacation.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It'll be a huge
cloud vacation.
Instagrammable vacation. If that's
There's,
all you're looking for, if you don't want any creature comforts or good food or Wi-Fi or anything. I don't know how you get those Instagrams out without the Wi-Fi, but that's what it's for.
There is an outhouse nearby, so you can use that. It says upon check-in, a concierge will meet you and get you dialed in with your meals for your 2-night stay.
Here's the door, and that's about the only amenity we have is a door and a bed. So enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, we've talked about these. I like these stories when they come around. Like we talked about, I think the last Airbnb listing we discussed was I think it was the Rays minor league team or the Royals minor league team. You could rent out the entire stadium,
as
the
an
entire
Airbnb.
facility.
Yeah, phenomenal.
That was cool. That one looks like it came with a lot more for your dollar than the Shrek Swamp.
No doubt. Thank you, Paulie.
You're welcome.
I got everything that needs to happen today for the Padres to still be alive.
Okay.
And all your
So
matchups.
one day at a time, right?
One
That's
day at a
all
time.
we can do.
Got through yesterday somehow, some way. Can the Padres make it to Saturday without being eliminated? Because if they do, then we're kind of on the eve of the last day of the season. So here's what we'll get to next. What needs to happen for the Padres today to avoid playoff elimination? Coming up next after a check of traffic, Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Stay connected with Ben and Woods all week long. Just give us a follow in the Odyssey app for easy access to clips, show reminders, and more. Simply download the Odyssey app and follow Ben and Woods to listen to us no matter where you are. So, somehow, against all odds, Padres have made it through another day without officially being eliminated. It took a rainstorm in New York in the ninth inning to perhaps stave off elimination, with the Marlins leading the Mets 2-1. But that game won't be finished until probably Monday at the latest. So today is all we can worry about. Correct, Woods? One day at a time?
One day at a time.
You believe in that philosophy. Padres obviously have to win their game. They will play the Chicago White Sox in the opener to the final series of the season. Nick Martinez will continue to make starts on the mound. I think he went 4 shutout his last time out, so figure they're probably hoping for about 4. Maybe they can even stretch him to 5. We're going up against Dylan Cease of the White Sox at 4:40, 3:40 pregame show with Sam Levitt here.
That's today?
That's today.
Okay, so you got Martinez.
Got to win that one.
Martinez against Cease. He's a pretty good pitcher. I don't know what the White Sox are running out there these days. I really don't. Remember we talked about the team that
they haven't been scoring much.
You remember we talked about in hockey, the team we know the least about was the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Chicago White Sox. The White Sox, the Twins, anyone in the Central divisions are the ones where I'm like, oh, I don't know. They still have a team? They got uniforms and everything. Yeah. Like, I know Cease has been good. I don't know what he's been like this year.
He's got like a 4.5.
I know he was supposed to be
7-8 with a 4.66
on a crap-ass team, horrific.
They've been struggling
team.
Mostly lately. They did win yesterday against the Diamondbacks 3-1, but the offense, with a couple of aberrations, has been kind of in the tank here in September. Padres, win or lose, other teams win or lose, whether or not they're eliminated, they can still finish with a winning record if they sweep the series, 82-80, and it doesn't even get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks to have a winning record. I will say, I looked it up yesterday. They've only had, I think it was 14 winning seasons in their 54 years. So, going for a 15th winning season. Add to that overall list of winning seasons.
It wasn't a total failure.
It wasn't. We got a winning season.
Yeah.
I think the part that just drives me insane waiting for the Padres season to officially just be over is that you look ahead and they have 3 very, very winnable games. Like I was looking at the pitching matchups. Cease and Martinez tonight. Tomorrow, the White Sox are throwing out Mike Clevenger, who's actually having not the worst year.
I thought he was on Sunday.
I think I had him listed tomorrow, and then Jose Urania on Sunday, who's 0-7 with a almost 8 ERA.
It's going to shut us out. We're going to win the first.
It'll be a bullpen day for the Padres, unless they're still in it, and then they can go with Snell on Sunday with one more start. But all right, so that's the Padres game. But even before that starts at 3:35 our time, it's the Marlins at the Pirates. Marlins, who knows how much sleep they'll be on after the long rain delay and suspended game, but they can eliminate the Padres with a win over the Pirates. Then at 5:10, you get the Cubs at the Brewers. The Cubs can eliminate the Padres with a win over the Brewers. So you need the Pirates to win, you need the Brewers to win, and then at 5:15, the Reds are at the Cardinals. You're not eliminated with a Reds win, but you can't have the Reds win twice. So you are cheering for the Cardinals in that game. So you need 3 things definitely to happen. Padres win, Marlins loss, Cubs loss, and you're also hoping for a Reds loss at the same time in those 4 matchups today that would impact the National League wildcard race.
Okay. Is today the day?
Yes.
It feels like today's the day.
Yeah.
You think so?
I do.
Did you say a new AC piece has dropped this morning?
I was just scanning it over. It came out at the top of the hour. It's more of a regrets piece, not a news dropping piece. It's Xander and other players, Joe, reflecting on the fact that this was a huge year. They're all going to get a year older. They all, put a lot of chips into the middle of the pot in 2023. And they're getting nothing out of it at the end. They're not even getting a chance in the playoffs to make a run here. And they know that it's only going to get harder as they go forward. As they get older, the bodies start breaking down, that this was their best golden opportunity. Doesn't mean they won't have other opportunities, but they do know that this was a big big swing and a miss here in 2023.
Yeah, when we had Peter on in spring training and even last year, and you talk about the sustained window of success, and a winner for years to come. 0-1. 0-1 since that speech. And listen, if you make the playoffs and you lose in the playoffs, that happens. That happens to a lot of teams. That happens to a lot of great teams. But to not even get a swing, to not even throw a pitch in the postseason is one of the more colossal failures of my lifetime. No question.
Here was a Blake Snell quote. It finishes up the piece. It says, "It's something that looking back on when we're all old, it's going to be one that stings because I don't know if I'll ever play on a team this talented and this good." And Garrett Cooper said it the other day in his post-game interview. He said, because people were asking, the Marlins are still in it. You got traded away from this team. And he said, I know, but I've had fun here. This is by far the most talented team I have ever been on in my life. Anytime, professional baseball, I've never been on such a talented team as this San Diego Padres team. They all acknowledge that the talent is there. And yet, here they are, sitting still under 500 with 3 games left in the year.
Hard to imagine.
Can't blame Garrett Cooper. Certainly can't blame Blake Snell for the season that the Padres had.
It's hard to imagine. Hard to imagine. We can do our morning after the season is over. Certainly,
it's funny because Kevin goes through all the wasted things this year. Obviously, Blake Snell's Cy Young Award, Ha-Sung Kim's breakout season that he had, the best starting pitching in baseball. At the end of the year, pretty good numbers for Juan Soto. Xander Bogaerts has come through. Manny has played through injury and been not as good as he was last year.
He's had some big hits down the stretch, but how big are they?
Huge hits. Fernando Tatis Jr. coming back from his suspension and doing what he was able to do, the defense that he's been able to play. You kind of go up and down the roster and you go, wow, the Padres had so many great individual performances. Usually when you have a baseball team loaded with tons of individual greatness, it turns into wins on the field.
Yeah, it's hard to blame. You don't ever really want to blame the role players, but, the catching early in the season was really, really tough. The bullpen at times has been very sketchy. Starters have been pretty solid throughout, man, and that's what you dream of if you're a manager, if you're a general manager, if you're a fan base. Do we have enough starting pitching? Do we have good starting pitching? When our pitching has gone down, when Joe with his freak injuries and you with some of his issues as well, the guys that we've had in reserves were not able to get the job done really ever, and really the offense didn't help carry the weight at all and just severely unclutch. I've never seen a team that is as unclutch as the San Diego Padres of 2023.
It was the timing of everything.
Horrible.
It wasn't, yes, there were, non-clutch situations where they didn't come through in at-bats they needed to come through, but think about it from a bigger perspective. When the pitching was good early, the offense struggled. When the bullpen
was really good early,
they didn't have enough leads to protect. When the hitting started to come around, all of a sudden the bullpen cost them a few games in the middle of the year. When the starting pitching got a little bit injured, the offense picked up, but not quite enough to make up for it. It was just always the timing was slightly off all season long. Every single time they needed just a little bit more here, they didn't have quite enough. Or yes, what you were giving us was good enough now, but now it's not quite good enough. And that constantly happened throughout the year.
Yep, I agree.
All right, we got one segment left. Get to some flubs coming up. Let's end the week on a fun note as we go into this weekend with Ben and Woods. Do not go anywhere. Last segment coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Fall is almost here. Decorating is a breeze with Ashley Furniture. Sectionals, ultra-modern sofas. Gather outside with a new fire pit or a conversation set. Or Ashley Furniture has everything you'll need. Shop in store or visit ashley.com today.
You all right?
Yeah, I left my volume up
Yeah,
on
I
my
heard
computer, and I'm trying to turn it down, but I hit brightness instead of volume, so all of a sudden I just made my screen really dark, but my voice was still coming out of the volume speakers, so I was totally thrown off there. I am a professional broadcaster.
Indeed.
But sometimes not so much, especially after 19 hours and 39 minutes of radio in the week. Getting a little tired, and a bunch of TV as well.
It's a long week. Man.
So we're gonna get to the finish line here. We got Flugs coming up.
Yeah, he was up watching the Ryder
I
Cup.
was asleep by 1:20. I only watched the
1:20.
I only watched the first 4 or 5 holes, and then I watched a few more. Then when I got up this morning at 4:40,
I woke up at 1:30. You'd been asleep for 10 minutes. I woke up at 1:30. I went back to sleep.
Oh, you did? Okay.
You'd been asleep for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's staggering to me. How long is this sustainable? Everyone asks the question of the Padres: is Ben and Woods sustainable?
5 years.
I
Here
don't
we
know
are.
how you do
5
it.
years, still going. I wouldn't say strong, but
Strong, the strongest we've ever
the
been.
show is strong. Me personally, I don't know how strong I am anymore, but
that's fair.
But I still enjoy it. I like getting up with you every morning.
That is fair.
I'm still here with a smile on my face.
That's true. That is very, very true.
All right, let's check traffic, and we'll wrap things up here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Air Max, San Diego's highest rated heating and air conditioning company. Looks like a couple folks are going to be spending part of their weekend getting their cars in for some servicing. Eastbound 54 at Highland. Stalled vehicle blocking the fast lane, and in the North County, southbound 15 just before El Norte Parkway. Stalled vehicle partially in the fast lane. We saw this accident on westbound 78 right before Barham. That's in the center divide. Looking for the best in HVAC? Choose Air Max, San Diego's highest rated heating and air company with free diagnostics on all repairs and estimates. See why over 1,100 happy customers have given Air Max 5-star Yelp reviews. See Air Max today at airmax.com. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we're going to open the phone lines for the last 15 minutes here, 833-288-0973. But I don't really need any more takes on Bob Melvin or AJ Preller.
Oh, I'm over it.
Juan Soto at this point of the week. We'll get back to it next week, but
Also,
I'm kind of done with it for now.
Also, it's Friday when I get off work. Forgive me if I don't respond to your DM wanting to talk about the Padres on Friday at 10:30. I check out. I check out until game time. I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for writing me. I'll get back to you at some point. It will not be today.
So here's the deal. If you call in right now, again, 833-288-0973, we're going to spin the topic wheel. And you just have to answer whatever question
Tier 1 topic
Paulie
wheel.
spins up. So
It's like they're a member of the show.
We'll answer too, but you'll be part of the round table of our answers. So if you'd like to participate in our Tier 1 topic wheel.
Fantastic idea.
Last segment of the show, 833-288-0973. While we wait for hopefully a call or two to come in, I forgot one story I wanted to bring up. Major League Baseball announced yesterday that they reached over 70 million in attendance this year, 2023. It's the most since 2017. It's a 9%, I believe, increase over last year. And it was attributed by Rob Manfred and the league office to expanded playoffs, keeping more teams in it later in the season. But a lot of it, too, the new rules that have sped up the game and they think has made baseball more appealing, both on television and to attend in person. Would you agree with that statement?
As much as I didn't think I would, I do.
You do agree with that statement?
Yeah, I was a late adopter. I didn't like that it lacked a feel early on. Guys were rushing, and I think you saw some victims. I think you saw guys like Alec Manoah had a really hard time adjusting to the clock. Blake Snell at first, he said, I hate it. Well, he won a Cy Young with it. So I think he likes it now, as we kind of predicted he would. Less time in your head, more time to just get up there and throw. And it's won him a Cy Young. So I'd say he's probably a fan now.
Yeah, you wish you could go back to the beginning of the season and said, Trust us.
Trust us. You're gonna
be
love
okay with the new rules.
I really
You're
had a
gonna adjust.
feeling, and we said it. I was like, I think he's gonna really. And when he started slow, I was like, maybe I'm an idiot, but he won a Cy Young with it. So I loved it, man. It's short. The games are shorter. I'm all in favor of it. You saw people complaining early on. I didn't even have time to get a beer. And well, I haven't seen any complaints really. I mean, I said admittedly, we are going to be biased about it. I'm going to be biased about shorter games. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Of course I want it short. If it was 15 minutes, I would be fine with it. It was fantastic. I completely, the bigger bases, all that stuff.
But the things
fine,
I was
all
worried
great.
about, like, is these two disengagements? Are we going to see tons of, automatic runners going to second, automatic balls and strikes? There was a few,
Sure.
but it didn't feel like it wrecked the game or it changed the game hugely.
I didn't think so either, but I will say, other than robot umps and stuff and automatic strike zones and maybe being able to challenge a strike or something, I'm good. Like, the game, we don't need to make it shorter. This is where we are now, I think, and we should keep it like this for a good, solid 15, 20 years before we get Manfred is a tinkerer, man. He loves to tinker. He's like my grandfather, always tinkering on something, rebuilding a radio or putting a new engine in a car, or tinkering with tires and stuff. It's like he was running fine.
I agree.
If he was running fine.
I
now
understand.
it's not.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But it was broken.
What we just saw,
It's fixed.
They have done a good job fixing what was broken.
But don't try to speed it up anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like let's enjoy this because it really was successful.
All right, looks like Tier 1 Takeover was a
Massive
intriguing
success.
idea because
Okay.
the phone lines are absolutely full. Let's start bottom of the board up. Let's go to Gino. Gino, good morning. Welcome to Ben and Woods.
Hey guys, what's going on?
How you doing, buddy?
All right, hang on now. We're going to spin the topic wheel. Paul, we don't know what the question is going to be, but you're going to answer it with us. So, Paulie, if you would.
Topic wheel's getting a little rusty.
Oil it
A
up.
little WD-40 on that bad boy.
Yeah, a little noisy.
Yeah, a little bit.
What was the most trouble you ever got in as a kid, and what did you do?
Bad one for me.
It's a terrible one for you. You should just turn your mic off. Gino, how about you? Were you a
Let's start
troublemaker
with
as a
Gino.
kid?
Yeah, I almost burned my parents' house down, and it was a little party when they were out of town. And
How old were you?
I didn't smoke. I was a teenager. I was probably 16, and somebody had smoked in my house, and I've never been a smoker, and they put a cigarette out in an ashtray. I didn't realize they just put it out. I threw it in a trash can in the bathroom.
Oh.
And needless to say, it caught on fire, caught the wall on fire, and we got it out, but smoke damage, but it almost caught the whole house on fire.
Kind of hard to hide
I
that.
laugh now. It was not funny back then, but I laugh.
How pissed were your parents?
Oh, my God. They went to Vegas. They got back, and I waited up for them, of course, I couldn't sleep, but I'm all covered in soot. And the first thing I said to my dad was, I walked out, and the firefighter told me, he goes, it could have been a lot worse. So I said that to my dad, and that's the only time my dad almost punched me. He never did, but he almost punched me, and I wouldn't have blamed him if he did.
Ours is very similar.
Did you almost burn your house down, too?
Well, I almost burned somebody else's house down. That was in 6th grade. That we were lighting fireworks, and it was the first time I got brought home in a police car. I was in 6th grade. It was an accident. We were lighting fireworks in this dude's backyard from Texas. They sold them on every corner. Like, parents were like, hey, y'all go in the backyard, light some fireworks. I mean, it was not a big deal. It just wasn't where I grew up. But something caught, and they got it out. But the in a similar vein, I had a massive rager. My parents went to Notre Dame, Penn State, huge game, 1993, and they were gone. And I was supposed to be staying at a friend's, but I had all my friends parked down the street at this real estate office that had this huge field for a parking lot. So no cars lined up in front of my house. But my backyard was, I had like 3 kegs. Everybody in the school was there. Every grade was there. It was a rager. People were like doing things in my parents' bed. Like there's cigarettes everywhere. And I cleaned up as best I could. And I left the house. I went to the mall on a Sunday when they got back. And I didn't have a phone, but my friend did. in his car. And my mom called his car phone and said he needs to get his ass home right now. And I went home and I got chewed at. My mom said she found like 350 cigarette butts in flower beds and, empty remnants of beer. And did somebody do something in our bed? I don't know, probably. And I got in a lot of trouble. Yeah, it was rough.
I think I told this one before. So this was when I had gotten my first car, and I, parked into the driveway of our house. No one else was there. I was the only one with the car, and the parents' cars were always in the garage. So I had gotten into the habit when I was leaving, I just quickly back out and go. I'd have to turn around, so I'd do the quick back out and go. No one's ever there. I don't think about it. Well, do the quick back out and go. I didn't realize my mom's friend was there parked in her Mercedes. Just backed right into it. Without even looking. Just backed right into it. I will admit, I did not really get in trouble. They knew how badly I felt about it.
Did you cry?
I was so upset.
You cried,
I was
didn't
so
you?
sad. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
was so
cried.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, how old were you? Like 16?
Yeah, like 16. Yeah, I was like, this is the first time I ever crashed into something. It was just.
It's not a good feeling.
Just wasn't looking. Wasn't expecting anything to be back there.
I
done it 100 times. Like, back out,
Bam.
turn, back and turn, back and turn. Cool. Oh,
I hit the garage backing out one morning and called my mom at work. And it was probably one of my more brilliant moves. I go, Mom, I'm so sorry. I've got something to tell you. And I go, I'm so sorry. She said, what is it? I hit the garage. She's like, oh, no big deal. I'll call the guy and get it fixed before your dad gets home from work. Like, it was no big deal whatsoever.
My brother died.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it could have been so much worse. Make it seem worse. And then just drop that little, in the grand scheme of things. Paulie, what about you? What's the most trouble you got into?
Probably getting caught joyriding before I had my license.
Driving a car with no license is a big one.
Why do they call it joyriding?
Because you're a joy.
It was a total joy for me.
It's a joy.
Because eventually driving becomes a slog.
Yes.
Now we just do slog driving all the time, but when you don't have your license, it really is a joy.
I started working when I was 15, so I was able to buy a car. And I turned 16.
But you bought
in
a car
September.
before you had a license?
Yeah, because I wanted a car for when I got my license.
You did not want to waste a day.
You did not waste a moment.
He was an enterprising young man.
Damn right.
Hardworking.
But the problem was, you don't just go get your license on the day of your 16th birthday. You have to set an appointment, and sometimes those DMV appointments can be a month or so later.
That's right.
I had like 4 to 5 weeks in between turning 16 and actually getting my license, but I had a car. And my mom didn't get home from work until 5:30 or 6 p.m.
I think.
It's just sitting there.
It's just sitting.
You got the keys.
My
you
mom
have
gets
the
home from work.
registration.
She got off work at 5:30. She was home by 5:45 or 6 p.m. every single.
So you
weekend.
had 2:33 till
school
6.
got out at 2 o'clock.
Oh, it's on.
So the first time I took the car out, my buddy came over after school. Was like, "Dude, you want to go to 7-Eleven? Let's go. I got this."
I'll drive.
And we took off. It was like 3 o'clock. Guess who got off work early that day?
Your mom did.
Yeah, it wasn't like a neighbor ratted me out.
I thought you meant a cop.
We were pulling back into my house, and as I was turning left, my mom was coming the other direction, turning right, and I have the look on her face as she was turning and looking.
Is that
ingrained in
is
my
that
brain?
him?
Yeah.
She probably blocked that out like she blocked out your sexual deviancy
You know what?
that she caught you.
Everyone who called in, we'll do this again.
Oh, we have to. It was great.
This was a lot of
Gino,
fun.
you knocked it out of the
Gino was
park.
great. That was fantastic. This is going to be a regular Tier 1
Friday
topic
9:30,
wheel
buddy.
is going to be a regular
I'm a fan.
segment. But we always like to end with either things I like or flubs. I
Flub
feel
it.
like it's a flub week,
It
so
is.
let's finish with some flubs.
And of course, San Diego State taking on number 14 U-Haul on U-Haul. Bring it.
All right, we'll play this audio for
Oh,
you.
guys.
Gnarly.
It's gnarly.
Out of St. Louis, California. First hour of Ben and Woods. Glad to have you with us on Wednesday morning.
Glad to have you with me.
Wherever we are. And both times, Austin Nolan drove in the one run.
Who is Austin Nolan?
Browns, Bengals, Ravens, 3-2 teams
Who
in
are
that
the
division.
Ravens?
Ballast Point Beer, the official craft beer of the San Diego Padres, at Ballast Point in Little India.
He's not 35.
But he will
pitching
be before the contract is done.
What is a contract?
Holiday season is almost here.
30 days, half September.
And that is due and do this for a Wednesday.
Don't.
Ben Woods back after checking traffic on 97.3 Fan. He's got the fifth most wins coaching time, all-time coaching. Fifth most, yes. February 12th, State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. State Farm Stadium.
That's not what I heard.
That's not what I heard either.
Our first sound from Padres spring training 2013. I think when a veteran pitcher is having success with those numbers, 6-year history of Major League Rugby.
Rugby?
Sam San Diego's number one sports station, 93 The Fan.
We were just talking about Landon Jonovan.
Who is Landon Jonovan?
All right. Back after a check of traffic here on 91.37 The Fan. Almost the entire 97.3 The Crew is coming out.
And then, of course, Joe Darvish and the kettlebell on the toe. Paul Reindl. It's our executive producer, YouTube director.
What's the director?
He's the director.
The Sockers, they haven't lost a season all home, so we need you out there.
Greg Elsten will join us with some streaming television. In which Grammy-winning Beatles song does Paul McCartney sing about the words that go together well? He was our man on the scene in the Beast of the Belly, Dodger Stadium, on the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan
What
Hotline.
is Carlsbad?
Are you okay?
What is happening right now?
If you like brisket and you're not going to Grand Ole Barbecue, you're doing it wrong in North Park, at Flint Springs, and out at the ballpark. North Park. 97.3 The Fan.
Paul's got some really good audio coming up in the Reindl Report as well from Gabe Kapler, manager of the Giants, that you won't want to stay tuned for.
Sits down and talks to the owner of the Baltimore Orioles, Peter Angelos.
The Baltimore what?
Orioles. What'd I say?
To wrap up our 90s country 90s country theme for the week.
Lord.
Seem to enjoy playing for Bob Melvin.
Bob
Melvin.
Who is Bob Meller?
And the Padres tie up this series in San Francisco.
That's all, folks.
Bob Scanlon Flub make it into the flubs
I love it.
of the week. Little addition there. All right, well, we'll see what happens this weekend. I mean, I'm fully preparing myself, obviously, for what is like 99.9% likely. Padres get eliminated, but if it doesn't happen,
probably today.
Boy, Monday's going to be a show
for the ages. I mean, it's probably going to be today, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably going to be yesterday.
Yeah.
It was probably going to be the day before that. It was probably going to be the day before that.
No, but it's probably going to be.
But it's probably going to be today as well.
It is. It's probably going to be today. Just so you know, brace yourselves.
But you know what? We don't have to talk about it in the morning tomorrow.
Just a little kind of long tease here. If you are around tomorrow and you are, listening to the Padres post-game show here on 97.3 The Fan, or The Flan, as Ben calls it, or 97.3 Fan. 91.73 Fan.
91.71.
Here's all I'll say. Be monitoring your social medias tomorrow and listen to Sammy's post-game show. Sound good?
Yeah.
Intriguing.
Are you titillated?
I am.
Good.
Roughly, let's call it 7:30.
Just whenever the game ends, listen to Sammy's post-game and then wait.
Good week, gentlemen. Coach Braden coming up next. For executive producer Paul Reindl, Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great weekend from all of us here at 91.753 The Fan.